Taiwan, and that is Wei Yin Chen. 5-6 at 3.24 ERA against the A's in his career 4-0, a 1.69 ERA. His last outing against the Tigers cuffed around as they came back and won 8-7, but he left the game trailing 6-0. Again for the Orioles, Machado at third, Parra in right, and Jones in center, followed by Davis at first, Paredes the DH, and Hardy at short. Scope at second, Reimold is in left, and Joseph behind the plate. The A's have won 3 out of 4. They're 48-60. Billy Burns leading off in center. Sam Fold in right will bat second as Josh Reddick continues to be slowed by a troublesome back. Brett Lawrie getting the start at second base, hitting third, and Billy Butler, the DH, will back cleanup. Newly acquired Danny Valencia at third base, batting fifth. Josh Begley catching and hitting sixth. Mark Hanna in left field, batting seventh. Ike Davis at first in the eighth spot, and Marcus Semien is the shortstop and batting ninth behind the 24-year-old out of Alexander City, Alabama. Kendall Graveman, 6-7 at 3.84 ERA. Got back on track his last time out, working into the seventh inning, allowing one unearned run. A no decision in a 2-1 loss on Friday against Cleveland. Again for the A's, Burns in center, Fold in right, and Lawrie at second, followed by Butler at DH, Valencia at third, and Begley catching. Then Canna in left, Davis at first, and Semien the shortstop. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of the Oakland Athletics. For the private and non-commercial use of our audience, any reproduction or retransmission of the description and accounts of this game in any form without the express written consent of the Oakland Athletics is strictly prohibited. An absolutely glorious Wednesday afternoon at the O.Co Coliseum. Ready for some Wednesday afternoon baseball, and once again, here's Ken.
Manny Machado leads it off for the Orioles. Machado, Parra, and Jones against the right-hander Graveman. Machado batting at .292, 23 home runs, 56 RBIs. Graveman deals, and a fastball is taken low. Underway at 74 degrees and not a cloud in the sky. Just perfect. Manny Machado, right-handed hitter. Here's the windup and the pitch by Graveman. And that swung on, bounce to third, backhand by Danny Valencia, and he throws him out, and that's the way our ball game begins. Welcome to the Athletics, Danny Valencia. They find you, Ray, and it happens quickly.
That is probably the best thing to happen for Valencia, to have it happen in the second pitch of the game and make a nice backhanded play. I don't think he is lost for confidence. He is a very confident young man. Surprised he was let go by the Toronto Blue Jays, but it became a numbers thing. But it's a nice play to start the game.
So Valencia with the first out of the ball game, and that'll bring up Gerardo Parra, who's batting at 200 in his week with the Orioles after the trade from the Brewers. And the pitch by Graveman is taken for a strike. The A's have Ike Davis at first. They have Brett Lawrie at second today with Semien at short. And Danny Valencia over at third with Josh Begley behind the plate. Swung on a foul tip. Mark Canna's in left, Billy Burns in center, Sam Fold in right. Graveman coming off a good start against the Indians on Friday. 6 2/3, 5 hits, a run, no walks. Actually 2 walks and 6 strikeouts for him. Here's the pitch, and the righty throws, and that's taken for a strike. Ring him up, pitch right down the middle, and Parra knew it. He turns and walks away.
Kendall Graveman is a ground ball pitcher. He got one of the first batter, and surprisingly, and we've seen a few already in this series where pitches right down the middle and hitters are taking. Wieters has done it in this series, which again very surprising.
Game against the Indians, he shut out the Tribe for the first 6 innings and threw 97 pitches. Here's Adam Jones, who's batting .286, 17 home runs, 51 RBIs, just getting started. 2 out, top of the first, no score. Kendall Graveman out of Mississippi State delivers, and a breaking ball is low, and it's 1-0. The plate umpire is Dan Bellino. Chris Siegel at first, Laz Diaz at second, Alfonso Marquez over at third. And the pitch to Adam Jones, and that's low, and it's 2-0. And that was such an important start for Graveman because he had struggled in his previous 2 or 3 starts, Ray, especially in his start before that game against the Indians, when the Giants knocked him out in the second inning. Jones hits a ground ball left side, charged it short. Semien has it, and the flip to first on a hop, and it's dug out by Ike Davis. So Graveman has a 1-2-3 top of the first, with the A's coming up in the bottom half. after the Orioles went down 1-2-3 in the top half. And the A's will take their shots against left-hander Wei-Yin Chen. He's 5-6 this year and a 3.24 ERA. He's walked only 26 in 125 innings. He's from Taiwan. And Billy Burns will lead off for the A's. So Burns, Fold, and Laurie for the green and gold. Billy switch hitter batting right. And the windup by Chen and the pitch to Billy Burns. And that's a fastball low. And the count 1-0. The A's the green tops and the Orioles the road grays. Final game of the series, although the A's will see the Orioles on the A's next trip. Wei-Yin Chen fires. It's swung on and a fly ball at center field. Playable for Adam Jones. And the Gold Glover makes the play. He's flanked in the outfield by Nolan Reimold, who's back with the Orioles this year. He's in left field. Gerardo Parra is in right. They have Chris Davis at first. Jonathan Scope at second. J.J. Hardy at short. Manny Machado's over at third. And Caleb Joseph is behind the plate for Wei-Yin Chen. Chen is 4-0 lifetime against the A's. Here's Fold, who's batting at 209. Joseph sets up outside, and the pitch is a fastball right there in the outside corner. 5 starts against the A's, a 1.69 ERA. He's 2-0 lifetime here at the Coliseum. And Fold, it's a ground ball to first near the bag, taken by Chris Davis in right to the bag and quickly 2 away. And that'll bring up Brett Laurie, as we've been saying, playing at second base today. He did make 26 starts at second last year for Toronto.
Just wondering, he's got a very strong arm. That could help him on a play up the middle where he has to range to his right and throw. But he has that short throw to shut it down and make a nice easy toss. That's a third baseman's strong arm playing second base. That's
could help on a double play too, right?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, and as big and strong as he is, he could stand there and say, hit me, I don't care. I'm still going to throw over you or through you.
He's batting at 273, 9 homers, 43 RBIs. The A's without Coco Crisp today. Of course, day game after a night game. Coco a little sore after the ball game last night. And Josh Reddick again not in there with the stiffness in his lower back. He has hoped to have both of those guys back tomorrow night. The pitch to Laurie is outside. And the count 1-1.
Biggest thing for Brett Laurie is keep him healthy, keep him in the lineup. And so far, as the A's have played 109th game today, he's gotten a few days off, but he's been playing.
And the pitch is bounced to short. J.J. Hardy is right there. And the flip in time. And the A's go down 1-2-3. And after 1, 0-0. Second 13 out of Mississippi State goes to work on Baltimore in the top of the second with no score. And the Orioles have Chris Davis leading it off. Davis, Paredes, and Hardy. They shift the infield and the pitch for a strike on the inside corner. The Orioles went down 1-2-3 in the top of the first, and the same for the A's in the bottom half. Davis 27 home runs on the year, including a shot early in the ballgame Monday night. A round to bunt takes outside, and the count 1-1. So in this series, Ray, you have Chris Davis and Ike Davis, each playing first base. And then tomorrow night, you'll have the Brett Lawrie and Jed Lowry experience.
Good luck.
Here's the pitch outside for a ball, 2-1.
Well, you know, Chris Davis just faked the bunt with a shift, everybody to the right side. This is one guy that you could say, please bunt.
Right.
Because he could hit a ball out of the stadium if possible. He is that strong if he makes contact. Kendall Graveman, though, trying to keep him hit the ball on the ground.
Only Valencia on the left side of the A's infield, and Graveman fires outside. And it's 3 balls and 1 strike.
And Sogard's out there shaking hands with Sam Fold in right field. He's so deep. He keeps moving out farther and farther.
You mean Lawrie?
Oh, Lawrie, that's right. See, when you say Valencia on the left side, I forgot it was him.
Here's the pitch, and Davis takes outside. That's ball 4, and the Orioles have their first base runner, and that'll bring up Jimmy Paredes. Yeah, the Astros in here tomorrow night, first to 4, 7:05 tomorrow, 7:05 on Friday, 1:05 Saturday and Sunday. And if you look around baseball, Ray, you really couldn't have a better matchup than what we're going to see here Friday night.
Absolutely.
In Sonny Gray and Dallas Keuchel. I mean, one of the real marquee matchups in baseball this year. Here's Jimmy Paredes, a switch hitter batting left. Graveman's pitch, around to bunt, taken inside, 1-0.
But I want to say with Scott Kazmir and Keuchel went neck 9 innings. Last time the Astros were here, and it was when the Astros scored 2 in the 10th, and then Josh Reddick hit the 2-run pinch hit double to tie the A's.
Texas beat Houston 4-3 last night. Jimmy Paredes at the plate. The pitch to him is swung on, bounce, foul wide of the bag at first. No score, nobody out. Top of the second, Chris Davis at first, but the Angels could not take advantage. And Carlos Carrasco, who was lights out against the A's last week, he continued that against the Angels last night.
Well, the A's took advantage. They won, so picked up a game.
Here's the delivery, and swung on a miss by Jimmy Paredes, and Paredes strikes out. So that's out number 1, and J.J. Hardy will be coming up.
Kendall Graveman very sneaky with his fastball, great sinker, and sometimes when it throws a 4-seamer, gets on the hitters a little bit quicker than they're expecting. But it's still like his sinking fastball where he can get a lot of ground ball outs and have some quick innings.
So here's Hardy, who's batting at .240 with 7 homers and 29 RBIs. Top of the second, no score. Chris Davis at first, a fastball at 91 in for a strike. Well, Giovanni Urshela hit a 2-run home run in the top of the 12th inning for the Indians against the Angels. 2-0 Cleveland last night. Here's the pitch. And that's taken outside. So the Astros lead the Angels by 3 games in the West. The Angels have lost 7 of 8. The Rangers suddenly hot. They've climbed to 500. They're getting in it.
That's the beauty of a long season. 6-month season, 162 games. That a lot of things can happen. And even when you think you're out, you get back in it.
The pitch to Hardy is swung on line, foul left field side. So Texas back by 6. Seattle's won 3 straight. They're 10 back. The A's back by 12.
You know, at one time the White Sox were going to trade everybody, sell everybody. Then they won, what, 5, 6 in a row, and then you get back in it, and then they start losing again after the deadline.
Yeah, they've lost 3 in a row. Here's the 1-2 with 1 out. Swung on, bounce to short, double play ball. Simeon, he flips to Lawrie. He goes to first. Taylor made a routine 6-4-3 double play. Gets Graveman and the A's out of the top of the second. We go to the bottom of the second and still 0-0. Valencia and Fegley against Wei-Yin Chen. Billy Butler 243, 9 homers, 47 RBIs. Wei-Yin Chen from Taiwan. Here's the windup. Joseph sets up outside and Butler takes a strike on the outside corner. Most wins for a pitcher born in Taiwan. Number 1 is Chin-Ming Wong with 62. And number 2, Wei-Yin Chen with 40. Here's the pitch to Butler, and Billy takes a fastball high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And if the interleague play was not in vogue, then Chin-Ming Wong might still be without a bad ink, or was Achilles tendon. Something happened when he hit home plate.
Here's the pitch to Butler. Swung out and missed. 1-2.
It's when late George Steinbrenner said, let's forget about these pitchers having to run bases and hit. Stepped on what, home plate or something that happened? Was it Achilles?
Had a long-term foot injury. Yeah.
We've talked about that before. Bob Melvin, I mean, they cringe. The managers in the American League cringe when their pitchers have to hit.
That's right. And how about running the bases? Scott Kazmir found out that in San Diego.
And Butler hits it the other way down the right field line for a base hit. He's turning it first. Parra digs it out. And Old Country Breakfast going to cruise into second base with a double. He's starting to go the other way, Ray, and that has to be a positive sign. Late in the game last night, he had a ground rule double over to right field.
Well, the thing he did last night, he pulled the ball down the left field line and hit foul and very deep, and then went opposite field. And really, he knew he was going to get a pitch early that he could swing and try to hit a home run to left field. But then after getting 2 strikes, he went to the opposite field, as he just did this time. And they're going to shade him around to pull, but he is definitely an opposite field hitter.
So here's Danny Valencia making his A's debut, and good numbers this year in Toronto. 296, 7 homers, 29 RBIs. He was batting .316 against southpaws this year. And lifetime, he's .326 against lefties. University of Miami product, and the pitch, a fastball on the outside corner. Fegley is on deck. So Danny Valencia, 19th round pick in 06 by the Minnesota Twins, made his big league debut in 2010. And the pitch to Valencia is a shot to the left to Hardy, but he's got it on 1 hop, and he throws to first in time. Well hit ball. Butler has to hold at second. Not a whole lot gets through J.J. Hardy.
Well, the whole defense of the Orioles is unbelievable. And really, it's what it's all about. You get pitching and defense, and I can think about the Orioles way, and the Oriole way basically is you catch the ball, going back to the great Earl Weaver.
So here's Fegley. Fegley at 266, 6 homers, 23 RBIs. No score, bottom of the second. Butler is at second. The pitch to Fegley. And that's inside. Where are the Orioles right now? Well, they're 6.5 behind the Yankees in the East.
And where are they?
In the wild card, I mean, it's almost everybody's involved.
That's right.
And they're a game behind the second wild card. The outfield toward left. Here's the pitch. Swung on to miss. Fastball away.
A's were the second wild card last year. Different circumstances. They'd love to be in contention this year for the second wild card.
All you have to be is around 500.
That's right. Trying to get there.
The Angels have the top spot despite losing 7 of 8. And then Toronto is in the number 2 spot today. Here's Wei-Yin Chen to Fegley. On the way. He buzzes him inside, missed with a fastball. And then you have the Orioles and Twins a game behind the second wild card at 54 and 52. Then the teams at 500, Texas and Tampa Bay, are 2 back. Here's the pitch to Fegley by Wei-Yin Chen. In the dirt, it gets away from Joseph, and Butler is going to third base. Should be a wild pitch.
Should be a headline.
That Butler got from second to third?
Exactly.
Well, maybe Vinny will talk to him tomorrow, as he did with Sogard with the intentional walk last night. I mean, that's that secondary lead. They're not paying attention to him at second base, so he can get a second, third, fourth lead.
And it should be noted on Sogard in the intentional walk that it's happened before, but in a National League park when the pitcher was on deck. Here's Fegley, and the pitch to him, the 3-1 on the way, is swung on, foul back, 3-2.
But the thing with Butler, you know, we talk about his lack of speed, but you still have to play the game.
Yeah.
And you have to recognize when that opportunity is there to take advantage of it.
Well, in the Orioles right now, they don't have to play infield in. They go halfway because of the lack of speed. And if the ball is hit, Billy, see if he goes on contact. Unlikely that he would.
Center field Jones a step or 2 toward right center. And the pitch to Fegley by Chen, and Fegley swings and misses, and down he goes on a fastball, 92.
And he went fastball inside, which he does it a very good job. Chen does. Joseph set up on the corner and got it exactly where he wanted it.
Situational hitting.
Yeah.
So big.
Well, and it happened when Valencia hit the ball to the left side. Butler couldn't advance. So a wild pitch did get him to third, which in essence was like a ground ball to the right side. But you have to find a way to make contact and get him in from third.
Here's Canna batting at 226, right-handed hitter. Bottom of the second, no score. Butler is at third. Wei-Yin Chen delivers. And a breaking ball backdoors him, a strike. 0-1. Hitting room in left center. And Chen delivers the pitch to Canna, and that's outside. If you look at the top teams in the American League with runners in scoring position, Ray, it's no surprise where they are in the standings. Toronto is number 1. They hit 289. Kansas City number 2 at 281. The Orioles are number 3, 280 with runners in scoring position. Here's Canna swinging and missing, and he's behind in the count, 1-2. Melvin was talking about Wei-Yin Chen and his deception, Ray. That there's late life on his pitches.
Well, the fastball has shown that, especially 3-2 to Fegley. It's a matter of location as well. You can have the life, but it's putting it where you want to. And with his catcher moving inside, he hit the spot.
Now the pitch to Canna, swung on and missed, and Wei-Yin Chen, once the A's got a runner at third with 1 out, comes back with back-to-back strikeouts of Fegley and Canna as the A's leave Butler over at third. After 2 complete, the Orioles and the A's no score. Yes.
And Kendall Graveman ready to go to work over the top, and the pitch is sent in the air toward right, sending full back to the track, over the wall, over his head and off the wall, and around first and into second base. First ball swinging, Jonathan Scope, and the Orioles get the leadoff man in scoring position on the sixth double of the year for the second baseman.
Like Sam might have a chance for the ball coming back, but it hit the out-of-town scoreboard and kind of stopped, and then over his head.
I think it got out there so quickly.
Yeah, you could hardly get on the air.
Yeah, I couldn't catch my
breath.
Goodbye. Oh, the ball's in the air. We got to do something here. So here's Reimold. We'll see how the Orioles handle the situational hitting. Scoreless in the third. Reimold, a right-hand batter, batting .233, takes inside, 2 homers and 7 driven in. Graveman making a big adjustment his last time out by getting the ball back down in the zone, something that had been missing in recent starts. Reimold originally drafted by the Orioles. He takes outside with a slider. 2 balls and no strikes. He's out of Bowling Green. Got to the big leagues with the Orioles in 2009. He's had several injuries, including surgery on his neck, a herniated disc, which slowed him down quite a bit. Last year with Toronto and Arizona briefly. Here comes the 2-0, and it's wide, ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes. And now Caleb Joseph waiting in the on-deck circle. Scope with a leadoff double to start the frame. Simeon jogging in behind him at short. And the pitch to Reimold. It's over the inside corner, makes it 3-1. Interesting talking with Chris Bassett after the game last night. I don't know, you did the same thing on television. He got himself in a little bit of trouble in the 4th inning with the walk, and then he fell behind Matt Wieters, who was able to reel it back in and avoid, a potential big inning. And he said, just as I'm sure he told you guys on the television side, is trusting his stuff and not worrying about the big inning.
And believing in his catcher, Stephen Vogt. He raved about Stephen Vogt and how he handled him when he felt he didn't have much to do.
3-1 pitch over the outside corner, a strike. It's a full count of 3-2.
They blew away Snyder in his 7th inning with about a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He said Stephen Vogt came out to him and said, "Don't hold anything back. You're out after this inning, maybe this batter, so let it go." And he just blew him away. And that's having some extra in the tank, whether he knew it or not. But he was able to rear back and throw a little bit extra.
Full count on Reimold. And Graveman with the peek back at second base. The pitch swung on, lined into left field. That's going to drop for a hit. Canna's got to chase it down. Scope is around third. He'll score. Canna fires into second base. An RBI single for Nolan Reimold. And the Orioles strike first. They lead 1-0.
They went off speed, and Reimold, while he might have been thick of the right side, but be able to reach out and pull it to left field. No doubt that the runner's going to be able to score easily.
Well, one of the frustrations when you face the Orioles is you don't want to let them score first, because they're 21 games over 500 when they do. They've got the early lead on the A's. Oakland could not convert their leadoff double in the bottom of the second, but the Orioles do so in their half of the third. A sinker down and in on Caleb Joseph, ball 1. Joseph homered in the first game of the series on Monday night against Jesse Chavez. He's batting .249, 9 homers, 37 driven in. Matt Wieters not playing today. Set the pitch, swung on, bounced to third, backhanded by Valencia, goes to second for 1. Laurie on to first, dug out by Davis, but not in time. A slow developing around the horn double play opportunity, but Valencia got to a clean. Laurie got rid of it as well, but just too much time transpired. The A's get 1 out, forcing Reimold at second, and Joseph aboard at first base. Very close at first, though. I know you talked about it earlier. A very strong Brett Laurie, not afraid to hang in there on potential collision with Reimold. Now here's Machado. Buck Showalter was asked before the game, does Machado hear the boos? And he says no, he doesn't hear them, doesn't pay attention to them. I'm not so sure I necessarily agree with that, but that's the manager sticking up for his player after last year's August incident in Camden Yards. The slider way outside, gets away from Fegley, ricochets off the backstop and back to him, but not before Joseph advances to second base. So a wild pitch, and Machado has an opportunity to build on a 1-0 Baltimore lead.
Well, that time is so far outside that Fagan at least tried a backhand, could not put the glove on it.
The pitch, swing and a miss, tied him up inside, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Machado and Troy Tulowitzki, guys that are becoming pretty potent leadoff men. The 1-1 pitch. Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Buck Showalter using Machado there more than any other player. And it has worked out as this youngster continues to blossom.
As Buck said, put your best hitter lead off to get him extra at bats, which basically that will happen over the course of a season.
Just turned 23 last month. He swings at a slider, comes up empty. Good pitch away. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes on Machado. 1-0 Orioles on an RBI single by Nolan Reimold.
Biggest thing about a run producer leading off, you don't change your game because you're only leading off in the first inning, and heard that so many times. And after that, in this case, he's got a runner in scoring position.
Look back at second, 2-2 pitch. Fastball fouled it back to the screen. Well, and if the bottom of the order can create some opportunities and get on base, then you've got one of those dangerous situations.
And even in the National League, we're seeing more and more where managers, Joe Madden with the Cubs, hitting the pitcher 8th and having a position player hit 9th, so you can create the possibility of the middle of the order having somebody on base.
Machado hitting over 300 as the leadoff man. He swings and strokes one on the right side, flagged down in the hole by Davis. Underhand toss, Graveman there to cover in time. They retire Machado, but over from second to third goes Caleb Joseph. Play goes 3-1, and here comes Gerardo Parra to the plate.
Well, you can never assume a first baseman is going to handle it. And that's why Graveman quickly got out, because it's a foot race for Ike Davis playing off the bag at first base, and the pitcher's got to be there to cover.
Now Parra struck out looking on a fastball in the first inning. 2 for 9 in the series. One of the acquisitions by the Birds around the trading deadline came over from Milwaukee. A young pitcher named Zach Davies. Stands in on the left side with an open stance. Originally with the Diamondbacks and then with the Brewers. Set the pitch. Swung on, bounced towards short. Another ground ball. And this one gobbled up by Simeon. The throw is true and the inning is over. But the Orioles get a run on back-to-back hits and leave a man onto the bottom of the third. Orioles 1, A's nothing. #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and a whole lot more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet. Ike Davis left on left starting the bottom of the third. The A's trailing 1-0. He doubled against the lefty T.J. McFarland last night. They overshift on him, and he takes a fastball through the heart for strike one. Only 16 at-bats this year for Ike against lefties.
Now, Stephen Vogt had been playing first base, but he gets the full day off. It's not a bad idea this time of the year.
0-1 fastball. Stroke fair inside the third baseline and heading toward the left field corner. Davis around first on his way to second as Weimel plays it back in. So, spoil the shift and take that as Ike Davis collects his 17th double of the year.
They'll still employ a shift the next time he comes up. They figure that's just something out of the ordinary, but great job of hitting. And I think with Ike, when he's facing lefty, he's thinking more opposite field than he is about pulling. That's why it's surprising to see the overshift.
Seemed like he just waited that extra blink.
And maybe thinking breaking ball, but he gets a fastball and it sees a pretty good pitch and lets it go.
So here comes Semien. Key moment for the A's with a 3-run homer last night of the 6th inning after the intentional walk. His 10th long ball of the year. Chen fires and Marcus shortens the bunt and takes wide for ball one.
I think Marcus is bought into nighttime ball not carrying because he said, I didn't think it was going, hit the top of the fence, and nice to have top spin to be able to take off and give it to the possum.
Give it to the possum. Is that his hangout out there in left center?
Yeah, he's out there.
There's the 1-0 swing and a foul back. Marcus batting .245,
from
26 RBIs.
From staircase to staircase, the portable fence, removable, which they'll take down for football, but you can see all the back and forth, you know. Great camera, Tommy Ed's, you know.
He had a hanging slider last night from the righty Chaz Rowe. And
yeah, after nasty fastball. I mean, it's amazing. What didn't you see with the fastball? He struck out Canna and threw the first one to Semien and then throws the breaking ball.
Here's the 1-1. Off speed, missing outside. And after the game, Matt Wieters questioned himself with the pitch call, saying that very thing. He had a good sinker going, and maybe I should have stayed with that pitch, even though we do like his slider against righties.
But you're going to make a mistake more with a slider than you are with about a 94, 95 sinker.
Davis at second base. A's down 1-0 in the third. And a breaking ball from Chen is too tight. And now Marcus has the count in his favor at 3 balls and a strike. There is day baseball going on and involving the American League West. Chen readies the high set, and the lefty's pitch is down low, and Marcus will take the walk. And now the A's have 2 on with nobody out for Billy Burns.
And if there's time possibly for a sacrifice or a bunting situation, this might be it. And so he had the first and second. Great at bat by Marcus Semien to get on first base, and now we'll see what Bob Melvin decides.
Billy, a fly ball to center his first time up. They're thinking bunts as they're charging in at the corners with Davis at first and Machado at third.
The great thing about the speed of Billy Burns, you have to be concerned about him as a defensive player versus the base runners.
So Chen ready. Checks the runners and offers, and it's a breaking ball that's not even close, missing high for ball one. And what's interesting about this alignment is that it actually has helped Billy when you say, well, they're taking the bunt away. That's true. But the angles that they're creating has allowed him to get more ground ball hits because of it.
And the outfield kind of bunching him very, very shallow. Any ball towards the gap's going to roll forever.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. It's off the corner inside, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. The A's cannot squander an opportunity like this with 2 on and nobody out and respond after the Orioles scored in the top of the inning.
And the fact that Semien walked on 5 pitches, maybe Bob Melvin said, let's make sure he throws a strike before we even consider doing anything else.
Here's a 2-0. Swung on, fouled back, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Seattle today at Colorado behind Taijuan Walker, who's been red hot, 7-2 in his last 9 decisions. And leading Colorado 3-0. And Nelson Cruz does have a hit in that game.
A home run?
Not yet. Just a single. 16-game hitting streak. He has homered in 5 consecutive games. Last player to hit in 6 straight is playing first base for the Orioles, Chris Davis. A bunt shown by Billy pulls back as it runs up and in on him. And the count now 3 balls and a strike. In Los Angeles and Cleveland, they're scoreless in the bottom of the third.
Cleveland happy today to have a true day game in Anaheim.
Right.
Instead of doing the traditional 4 o'clock as late as you can go and get in about 4 in the morning.
Danny Salazar against Hector Santiago there. 3 balls and a strike. And Chen to the plate. And a fastball is above the belt. The A's have got him loaded with a double and a couple of walks. And that'll bring Sam Fuld to the plate. And Caleb Joseph is going to jog out to the mound and talk with Chen, who came into the game with about a 5-to-1 ratio of walks to innings pitched. So command typically has not been his problem, and it's great to see the A's do something that was really missing in July, Ray, and that is grind out at bats. Their on-base percentage was so low during the month, and now it's maybe showing signs of an uptick again.
In the month, about 43 walks total, and I think 5 scores. So they were not grinding them out. And for an aggressive, overly aggressive hitter, and Billy Burns to walk on 5 pitches, that's saying a lot about him in this at bat and the way Chen is throwing.
Now Fold, no place to put him. Burns at first, Simeon at second, and Davis at third. Infield back looking for 2. Machado, even with the line at third base, the lefty's pitch. It is on the plate, a sinker at the knees away. Good pitch by Chen for strike 1. A's, by the way, very good with the bases loaded this year, going 30 for 90. And the pitch. It is low, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike on Sam Fold. And the A's have hit 5 grand slams as a team, although unlikely with Sam Fold, but you just never know. 1-1 the count. Jones shallow toward left center. The pitch. He takes a high slider on the outside corner, and Fold thought it was a ball, but Dan Bellino called it a strike. And man, does that impact the at bat from 2-1. Instead, it's 1-2.
Sam could not believe it. He thought that's good. 2-1, and you're right. 1-2. Very, very different.
Brett Lawrie waiting on deck. 1-2 pitch. Fastball pulled on the ground to first. Flag down by Davis. Throws home for 1. Back to first. Not in time as Joseph fired back to Davis. They force Ike Davis at home. The play goes 3-2. Everybody else moves up 90 feet. Simeon to third. Burns to second, and Fold aboard on the fielder's choice.
Well, he hit it too hard and almost was doubled up on a 3-6, 3-2-3. But any place else, it's going to be a possible double play if it didn't get through the infield. And the A's would score a run. Now they have to avoid being doubled up.
Brett Lawrie has one of those grand slams. It was against Texas Wandy Rodriguez back at Globe Life Park in Arlington. No place to put him. Grounded to short his only time up. First pitch right through the heart and taken for strike 1. A's down 1-0 here in the bottom of the third. When Lawrie blasted that grand slam, it was the 3rd of his career. Chen stretches and deals. Fastball swung on and missed. Tied him up. And it is 0-2. Remember, he got in trouble last inning. The leadoff double by Butler, who eventually got to third base on a wild pitch, and then he K'd Fegley and Canna. Bases loaded, nobody out in this inning. He's gotten a ground ball to keep the A's off the board and ahead of Lawrie at 0-2. The pitch swung on, fouled off to the right. Chen is not overpowering, but it seems like he's sneaky. And the ball really gets on the hitters.
And it's a location too, Vinny. He's able to pound inside of right-handers, which it's difficult for right-handed hitters, left-handed pitcher, especially if you get it in the corner, sometimes off the plate, which you can afford to do being ahead 0-2.
And the offer, breaking ball stays outside. The A's basically have their track team out there on the bases.
They do.
With Fold at first, Burns at second, and Simeon at third. And of course, Brett Lawrie will be the first to tell you, don't forget about me. As we saw again last night with that hustle double, or hustle triple rather, his 2nd of the year. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Fastball inside, evens the count. 2-2 on Lawrie.
And Vinny, just like last night, surprisingly, the outfield of the Orioles against Brett Lawrie, who hit the ball to left center, very, very shallow. And so any ball towards the gap, I mean, they're not going to be able to cut the ball off.
Yeah, no angle.
No.
And the A's burned them last night because of that setup, and Lawrie was the one that did it. Chen, the high set, his 2-2 pitch. Fastball fought off and blooped right toward the Oriole dugout. And not high enough in the air for Davis to even consider to come over for a play. So it stays 2-2 on Brett. Batting in the 3 spot, the A's now playing with Coco Crisp today, a little bit stiff the day after, plus the diving catch in left field. And Josh Reddick still fighting a little bit of that back issue, which got him out of the game on Monday. The 2-2, curveball foul back. It stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes rather on Sunday when Mark Canha came and had the walk-off against Cleveland.
You can always think about Neftali Feliz in Arlington, Texas, with the high fastball hit down the right field line. But Brett Lawrie, because he's aggressive, he has swung at a couple of pitches out of the strike zone, but can never take away from what he does aggressively with covering the strike zone and outside of it.
A's are down 1-0. The pitch, slow breaking ball lifted in the air to left. Reimold will have a play. Tagging from third is Simeon. The catch is made. Here comes Marcus. Here comes the throw. It's cut off. Throw back to second. Not in time, as the run scores to tie the game at 1. Machado almost stolen out at second base with Billy Burns. But Simeon is home. Lawrie gets his 44th RBI. And we start all over at 1-1.
And I thought eventually they would go a little bit soft after the hard fastballs. Brett Laurie's swing is ideally suited for something off speed. And if he didn't hit it towards the end of the bat a little bit, it might have been a slam.
Now, we talk about the defense of the Orioles, and not just the fact they catch everything, but they're always in the game. And Machado doing the smart thing of cutting that ball off as Lawrie drove in the run and threw back to second base.
I guess they're going to check it because Buck Showalter waiting. John Russell to call upstairs.
Well, definitely would impact the inning.
Well, the run scored, and the good thing about Simeon running, of course the play was coming to the plate, so he's running hard. So you would think that regardless of what happens on this play, the A's will have scored the run.
Remember, they reversed what initially was ruled a stolen base
that was a bad call
for Burns. I thought that would be one of those where they would have said the call stands.
Well, it's taking as long for Buck Showalter to decide if he wants to go back on the replay as it will be for them to put the headsets on and then go back to New York and discuss the replay.
And they're going to look at it. He put his hands to his ears. They're going to take a look at it. Now the home plate umpire, Dan Bellino, was he watching Marcus Simeon. And I would think, again, because he was sprinting to the plate, that the run is going to score. Yeah, maybe.
So the headsets are going to be put on. Second base umpire Laz Diaz making that call.
And Vinny, Dan Bellino talking to Buck Showalter and maybe explaining that the run did score regardless of what the outcome of this call is at second base.
What you're saying is that he had to touch home plate before the out was made at second if they overturn it and rule that Burns was out at second.
And so they're in consult with New York.
And, you know, surprisingly, and I don't blame Buck Showalter because they got an overturn last night, which was shocking because there's no way the number of replays that we showed on the TV side and that everybody looked at that you could not definitively say that Billy Burns' hand was not on the bag. And I saw Alfonso Marquez talking to one of the umpires, and he pointed his fingers up, which Lindor was picked off at first when he went back palm down, fingers up to avoid jamming his fingers in the bag, and his hand was not on the bag. But last night it looked like Billy Burns had gotten there, and with a head first slide he was not blocked off the bag.
We felt the same way over here.
Well, even Billy after the game last night, he was saying, I thought I was safe. I mean, you know, and Adam Roden was there. He thought he was safe. So it was surprising.
Alfonso Marquez and Laz Diaz with the headsets on. They're going to take them off, and the ruling is he is safe at second base. So all is right in the A's world. Jonathan Scope trying to make that play count, and Burns with a sigh of relief on a replay conversation that took less than 2 minutes. And the call was confirmed, is the official statement regarding that play. So here comes Butler. 1-1 in the bottom of the third. Billy doubled inside the first base bag but didn't score last inning. As Chen goes back to work with 2 on and 2 out. And he comes to the plate and catches the inside corner a little bit off with a change, and it's 0-1.
Well, Billy did the same thing in the first at bat. First pitch was called a strike. Looked back to home plate umpire. Then he doubles. Maybe he's trying to keep it consistent.
He's 9 for 20 in his career against Chen. Here's the 1-strike pitch. Ran it up and in. That one missing. 1 ball and 1 strike. So the A's get at least 1 run back on Chen and the Orioles. And the Orioles certainly know this is a tough place to play for them. Since 2009 at the Coliseum, they've gone just 8-20. They've seen enough of things not working in their favor. 1-1 pitch outside, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike. Orioles are now 12 for 22 on challenges this year. A's haven't lost a series to Baltimore since August of 2013. The 2-1 pitch. Fastball down and away. Hitters count now, 3 balls and a strike. Valencia waiting on deck. Burns at second, Fold at first. And the left fielder Reimold almost passed the out-of-town scoreboard toward left center. Runner breaks, swung on and missed. It gets away from Joseph, but the runners do advance. Burns hustling to third, and right behind him Fold as well, so a double steal for the A's. It's for number 22 for Burns and number 8 for Sam Fold.
Slider in the dirt that Billy Butler swung at. It hit the home plate umpire, and had hit not, it would have gone to the backstop. Billy Burns, with his speed, might have tried to score.
That would have been fun to watch.
A lot of fun to watch. But, you know, when you're breaking on the pitch, essentially, and a wild pitch occurs, you could just keep running, and with his speed. So Billy's going to have to calm down because he swung a ball 4.
Full count of 3-2. The target set up inside, and Chen fires, and he is high with the pitch. Going to reload the bases for Danny Valencia. Now this would be quite the debut as Dave Wallace, the veteran pitching coach, jogs out to the mound. He'll jog out to the mound. He'll take off his glasses, put them on top of his head. He'll take a deep breath, and then he'll start discussing what he wants, the message that he wants to deliver.
After rubbing his eyes.
Yeah. Mike Maddox puts the hand on the shoulder. Mike Butcher has his usual jog, and Dave Wallace has his own signature
He's got to be
move.
saying, Mr. Chen, you don't walk anybody. You walk 3 in 1 inning.
Yeah.
Do you know that? Oh, really?
Yeah.
But I think you're right about Valencia. That would be a great, great introduction to the Oakland A's.
So here's Valencia, who came to the big leagues initially with Minnesota in 2010 when Michael Kadire went on the bereavement list. His first hit was against Felix Hernandez as a Twin in 2010. His first home run was a grand slam against Zach Greinke. Set the pitch, a breaking ball inside, 1-0. A's 1, Orioles 1. Bases reloaded with Butler, Fold, and Burns at first, second, and third.
Valencia with the A's now will get to play against his former team next week, the Toronto Blue Jays, who let him go.
This is why the A's got him. Have more success against left-handers. He takes wide, 2 balls and no strikes. The A's 8-19 this year against left-handed starters. Valencia has 2 career grand slams. We mentioned the first that he had on July 26th of 2010. Infield back, and even Jones maybe a step or 2 deeper in center. The 2-0, follows it all the way in. A strike at the knees on the inner half, and it's 2-1. A lot of pitches thrown by Chen, and at 56 at the moment. Chen off the third base side of the hill, a long look into Joseph. Stays out of the stretch, and he offers. Swung on and blooped on the first base side. Davis in foul territory, doesn't have a play, and that evens the count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Valencia actually had a moment against the A's in that rookie campaign. Back-to-back games with home runs against Brett Anderson and Dallas Braden, kind of setting the table for what has been the staple of Valencia, having success against left-handed pitching. Count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes and a tie game. The pitch is inside and low, full count, and now the carousel is going to begin. Burns on the move from third base, and Fold will break from second, and Billy Butler will get a free start from first base.
Well, these fastballs have been inside, and that one off the plate, so he's got that option. You can watch his catcher where he sets up. If he goes in, it's going to be a fastball or a slider.
3-2 the count on Valencia. Chen readies. Runners break the pitch. It is on the outside corner. Strike 3 call. Came in off speed. Valencia thought it was high, but he is rung up, and the inning is over. The A's get 1 on 1 hit, but they lead 3 onto the top of the 4th inning. Oakland 1, Baltimore 1. Nothing more as Wei-Yin Chen got a backdoor breaking ball strike call to end the bottom of the third. And Graven back to work against Adam Jones. Then Chris Davis and Jimmy Paredes, the middle of the Baltimore lineup. Right-handers pitch to Jones. He swings and slams it to deep short on the ground. Picked up by Simeon. Sets, throws in the dirt. Dug by Ike Davis. What an amazing play by Marcus Simeon, retiring Adam Jones. Man, the confidence continues to grow, and you just see improvement each and every time Marcus gets a chance to make a play.
Not only a great play, Vinny, but he used the turf to, instead of trying to airmail it, give Ike Davis a hop far enough out in front that he can handle the hop. It wasn't a short hop, and that's a smart play on his part. And you're right, he is getting more confident every game he plays.
And now Ike Davis, I mean, this is a ground ball pitcher, and Kendall Graveman. So if you're a ground ball pitcher, you want to have confidence to get ground balls.
Gets to contact and let him do it.
And Marcus trying to give that back to his pitcher as a curve comes in and catches the corner on Davis for strike one.
You think of the Orioles pitching staff, but their defense, I mean, everybody in the infield is a very good defensive player. So they can say, here, hit the ball, except for Chet.
Davis walked back in the second. Hit that long home run on Monday night. He's pushed back and jumps out of the way of a down and in sinker. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Now, Vinny, you did a great interview with Eric Sogard about being intentionally walked, and you mentioned Buck Showalter intentionally walking Barry Bonds. Now, is it the influence of Buck Showalter on this club or Jim Palmer with the bases loaded, not giving up a slam?
That's right. 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes. All those years, all those thousands of innings.
Yeah.
And Jim Palmer never surrendered a grand slam.
And he could tell you he walked 13 with the bases loaded. Probably intentionally so he didn't give up the slam.
1 ball, 2 strikes. The offer. Fastball just taken low, in the words of Bob Melvin. Sometimes you skip the elephant to take on the rhino.
That's a good one.
That's what he has said a couple times this year.
There's a lot of truth to it.
He used that primarily talking about Tyler Clippard when he was with the A's, now the Mets. 2-2 offer. Off speed, just missed with a backdoor cutter. Didn't get the call, and it's 3-2.
And you like to talk about elephants when you're talking about the A's. Let's face it.
It's a natural.
Well, rhinos and elephants are both big. Either one.
And this pitch is spoiled it out of play off to the left. We mentioned the 8 ground balls now for Kendall, including a double play in the second. Every time the A's turn a double play, Men's Warehouse will donate $100 to Year Up. Right now, find great deals on designer brands, including Joseph Abboud, Calvin Klein, and Kenneth Cole. To find a store, visit online, shop at menswarehouse.com. 3-1 pitch, strike on the outside corner. Davis threw his bat. He's going, make up your mind, Dan Bellino. What's it going to be today? And that was some frustration for Davis as he is gone a-looking.
Well, the height was not a problem. It was right in the middle, or at least the middle of the body, but he probably thought it was back door out of the strike zone.
3rd strikeout for Graveman. Something that Davis does quite a bit of, more than anybody in baseball, as a matter of fact. 134 times now. And with 2 outs, here comes Paredes. As Kendall tries to get that shutdown frame in a 1-1 game in the top of the 4th. The righty's pitch is swung on and hammered foul. Past first base and up into the seats. Fouled the moment he made contact, and it's 0-1. Played Paredes to pull. Here's the 0-1 offer. Swing and a miss. Some guys, you put them in the DH spot because you need a guy to fill the spot. And then there's some guys like Paredes who look like DHs.
That's right.
And his frame certainly fits that to a T.
How about defense?
He did play right field on Monday night. 0-2 the count. And the pitch swung on, bounced behind first base. Ike Davis has it. He will retire Jimmy Paredes. All 6'3" and 215 pounds of him. And the inning is over. 1-2-3. Good shutdown frame for Graveman onto the bottom of the 4th. 1-1 at the Coliseum. Investments. Visit WeLikeValue.com to see how Sharp Investments can help you achieve value in your investment portfolio. Josh Phegley will start the bottom of the 4th inning, and he takes a slow curve that bounces up there short for ball 1. Struck out with a runner in scoring position back in the 2nd. Second baseman Scope shading up the middle. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Inside, 2 balls, no strikes, despite all the troubles for the A's offense. They've been well documented in the last month or so. The A's still have the best hitting catching tandem in all of baseball.
Yeah.
Home runs, RBIs, and OPS. 2-0 offer. Outside, 3 balls, no strikes. So that really has worked extremely well for the Athletics, and Josh is a part of it along with Stephen Vogt.
And they complement each other so well. Stephen Vogt is so open about how Josh Phegley handles left-handed pitchers, and everybody wants to play every day, but Stephen Vogt is very open about that.
Pitch on the way to Josh. Inside, another walk allowed by Chen, a guy that has been so tough on the A's over the years, but he's having trouble with the strike zone. The A's trying to take advantage of that. Leadoff man on for Mark Canha. Sean Manaea, who had the great debut for the A's at Double-A Midland with the 9 strikeouts over 7 innings, will start again today for Midland at home against Frisco. They lost yesterday 8-5, but Chad Pinder had a couple of home runs yesterday. Their shortstop, Chadwick Pinder, as he's referred to. Renato Nunez, who we saw in the spring, had a home run as well for the Rockhounds in the loss. Pitch to Canha, a strike, and it's 0-1. Mark struck out his only time up. Visalia beat Stockton 4-1 yesterday. Nashville in 12 beat Omaha 8-6. Veteran Ryan Roberts a couple of home runs in the victory. To set the pitch, breaking ball, that one stays high on Canha. 1-1 the count. Most walks for Chen is 5 in a game this year, back on April 20th at Boston against the Red Sox, and he's 1 away from equaling that here at the Coliseum. The 1-1 pitch, fastball fouled off to the right, and it's 1-2. So in the absence of offense, you have to find another way to make it work to a certain degree, and this is working so far. 66 pitches thrown at this point by Chen, so the bullpen will be a factor.
Well, clubs who may not score a lot of runs, if you pitch and catch the ball, you don't have to score a lot. And I think it takes a lot of pressure off the hitters as well as the pitchers.
1-2 offer. Fastball fought off and fouled off to the right.
But to your point, you get to the bullpen, although some bullpens you don't want to get to, but they are working Chen. But I think today with a fastball inside that continue to try to throw it, but it's missing. So it's a fine area. You don't want to make a mistake inside with powerful right-handed hitters. So you get off the plate, and today it seems like he's missing a lot.
Reimel, the left fielder, well over toward left center. And Jones shallow and a couple of steps toward right. Here's the 1-2. It's inside and low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The thing is, most clubs, when you talk about their bullpen, it's usually 8-9, or in some cases 7-8-9. But with the pitch count like this for Chen, you continue this pace, then you can get to those guys in the 5th and 6th innings, which every club has a soft spot usually in that spot. A 1-1 game in the bottom of the 4th. And the pitch. Fastball lifted down the right field line, slicing away from Parra, giving chase. Goes into a dive. He missed it. It's a fair ball. It's in the corner. Around second is Phegley. He'll hustle to third and hold there. Into second with an opposite field double is Mark Canha. And the A's are back in business against Wei-Yin Chen. Parra, a 2-time National League Gold Glover, tried for the diving catch and he missed it. May have jarred his body as well, as the ball ended up in the corner. By the time he got to it, the A's got 2 men in scoring position.
Well, he's rather fortunate, because if it's a different situation, a run would have scored. But Josh Phegley, with the ability of Parra to go after balls like that, he had to hold up halfway, and it could only make it a third. But still, A's 3rd time now, a runner third, less than 2 outs, trying to get him in.
Now Ike Davis with a chance to break the 1-1 tie. An opposite field double as last time. Infield halfway. There's nobody out of the inning. Chen readies and fires. And a breaking ball pulled to first, short out, picked up by Davis. Holds Fegley at third and goes to first base and makes the play. 1 pitch and 1 out. Nice Olay pick off to the side by Davis.
Well, how about just an Olay pick? I don't know, nice, although it was lucky. Because, again, sometimes you put the glove down and the ball does find the glove. And that could have very easily been a double down the right field line. And 2 runs scored, but there's no chance for Davis to get his body in front of it. He had to Olay it, and the ball did get in his glove.
The last time Chen faced the A's, he lasted only 5 innings in a July start a year ago. Pitch on the way to Semien. He swings and slams it over third down the line, and 2 runs will score. Fegley is home. Here comes Canna sliding into second with a 2-run double as Marcus Semien, and the A's are in front 3-1. Marcus Semien's bat is coming alive, and he picks up RBIs 27 and 28 on his 18th double of the year.
Well, that's how you take care of a runner in third, less than 2 outs. Got something off speed, and a great job of hitting immediately. Walked in his first at bat on 5 pitches and jumps on the first one here.
The A's have scored 3 unanswered runs on Chen. Will be paid another visit by Dave Wallace, and the bullpen for the Orioles will begin some activity. As a right-hander begins to loosen up, Brad Rock.
Now, Vinny, you cannot say enough about what Marcus Semien has been through this year. First year, getting a chance to play every day at shortstop, working exclusively almost every day on playing shortstop, and yet comes up with some big hits. Yeah, I think it's remarkable. It's a very important position on any ball club, and especially as a young player.
You have to be reminded, no matter how the season was going to turn out for the A's, that Marcus Semien was in his first full season. Yeah. And any player, whether he was accomplished at that position or not, was going to go through ups and downs. Sure. Now Billy Burns, and the pitch to Billy, he swings and fouls it over the screen for strike 1. 3-1 Oakland in the 4th.
And, you know, watching Marcus, as we have on a daily basis, there's no panic in him. He just approaches the game. He wants to do well. He wants to make everything perfect, and he's getting to the point at shortstop where he's making all those plays, and he showed it today already.
Billy has hit a fly ball to center. He has walked and stolen a base. Chen to the plate, and a swing and a ground ball just fouled, just missed the first base bag the other way, and it is 0-2. And the A's, while they're not hitting home runs today, they're taking chunks of real estate with doubles. They've hit 4 doubles with Butler, Davis, Canna, and Semien. 0-2 the count. Chen staying in that all too familiar stretch. He had a 1-2-3 first inning, and he's had traffic ever since. Burns, or rather Semien, racing to third, throw to third. A short hop picked by Machado, not nearly in time, and a stolen base for Semien. And for the 10th stolen base for Marcus this year.
Marcus Semien was walking then running off second base. All Chen had to do, and that's an example of a pitcher who struggles. He doesn't
loses concentration.
Exactly. All he had to do is look at the second time. Marcus either would have gotten back or might have picked him off.
Now at the infield, playing halfway, Marcus works his lead down the third base line. The pitch to Burns, down and away, backhanded by Joseph. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
So the number 10 for Marcus Semien is good. 10 home runs, 10 stolen bases, wearing the number 10. So that's good.
And you know what? I mean, you can make a case that there may be somewhere in his future, maybe a 2020 season.
Absolutely. I agree. Power's going to be there, and he's got the speed to steal bases.
2-2 pitch. Swung out, chopped off the plate and off the gear of the catcher, Joseph. Stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Chen at 76 pitches in the bullpen with the sidewinding Brad Brock going to work. Davis and Scope on the right side, and Hardy and Machado on the left side, all closing in after Joseph took one off the gear. And the count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes on Burns. Switch hitter batting from the right side. 3-1 Oakland in the 4th. The pitch swung on, fouled off to the right. Sam Fuld waiting on deck. It's interesting too, because this is a game that the A's are playing, at least now the way their lineup is constituted. They're missing 2 regulars not starting, Josh Reddick and Coco Crisp, and others are chiming in. 2-2. Breaking ball swung on and missed, and down goes Burns on strikes for the second out. For Chen, that's his 4th K of the day. And now Sam Fuld will come to the plate. And this might not be a bad place for a drag bunt.
Right
fielder.
Fuld is 0 for 2.
He set up very well.
Got Davis playing behind the bag at first base. He's hit the ball on the ground twice today. Chen readies and delivers, and he does think about it. But off third base is Simeon. They throw it behind him. Joseph to Machado, and they pick him off. And that's how the 4th inning comes to a close. Kickoff goes 2-5, but the A's get 2 runs on 2 hits. No errors and nobody left. Marcus Simeon doing the damage again. His 2-run double puts the A's in front, 3-1.
Graveman, who fires a strike on the outside corner with a fastball. J.J. Hardy is 0 for 1. He bounced into a double play, and that ended the second. Graveman delivers, and the pitch to Hardy. And that's a strike on the outside corner, and the count 0-2 to J.J. Hardy. Graveman has walked 1 and struck out 3. What a gorgeous day at the Coliseum. And the right-hander delivers, and that's low, and it's 1-2 to Hardy. J.J. Hardy, one-time number 2 pick, second-round pick of the Brewers in 2001. First base side of the rubber, and Graveman comes to the plate to Hardy, and that swung on bounce to short, right to Simeon. He feels the hop, fires to first in time. Davis off the bag, but he makes the tag on Hardy going by. That's out number 1. As we pause 10 seconds to allow our stations to identify themselves on the Oakland A's radio network.
Now batting, number 6, Jonathan Schoop.
Along with Vince Cotroneo and Ray Fosse, I'm Ken Korak. It's great to have you with us. The A's lead 3-1 in the 5th inning. And here's the pitch by Graveman, and Schoop takes a strike on the outside corner. Schoop is 6 for 9 in the series with 3 doubles. Doubled and scored the Orioles' only run. That was in the 3rd, and Graveman fires, and he hits him inside with a fastball. Down goes Schoop, and he's still down.
Oh, that got him solid. And it might have been on the shin or the right knee.
The back knee, maybe,
yeah.
Ray.
Yeah, back knee got him straight on. Wow. I'd stay down too.
Boy, that is rare to see too. The right knee, the back knee of Jonathan Schoop. And they're tending to him around home plate. Like he was right on the knee, right?
Right on the kneecap. Yeah.
Now he gets up. We can tell you the A's and the Astros begin the 4-game series tomorrow night here at 7:05. It'll be Aaron Brooks for the A's against Scott Feldman. 7:05 on Friday for Sonny Gray and Dallas Keuchel. That's just about as good as it gets when you consider that Gray is 11-4 and a 2.12 ERA and Keuchel 13-5 at 2.35. Day games on Saturday and Sunday. 105 on Saturday for Jesse Chavez and Colin McHugh. 105 on Sunday for Bassett and Fiers. 20,176. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Zach.
So Schoop hit by a pitch, stays in the game. And here's Nolan Reimold coming up, a right-handed hitter, with the A's leading 3-1. We're in the 5th. And Graveman's pitch is a fastball inside.
You know, sinker ball pitchers want to pitch inside, righty on righty, and try to get the ground ball with a sinker down and in or a swing over the top. So not surprised that Schoop got hit the way he did, and first pitch to Jacobs was inside.
And the pitch is taken outside, and the count 2-0. Reimold drafted by the Orioles, a second-round pick in 2005, and he's bounced around since then. And Graveman fires, and that sinks low, and now the count 3-0. Reimold played for both the Blue Jays and the Diamondbacks a year ago. Caleb Joseph is on deck. A's outfield, a big gap in left center. As Schoop takes his lead off the bag at first, Graveman's delivery is taken for a strike on the outside corner. 3-1. And talking about the Astros coming in here, Ray, the A's still have 10 games left with Houston. They'll have a lot to say about how the Astros fare down the stretch. Here's the pitch. It's on the way. Swung on, fly ball center field. Burns going back. It's playable at the base of the track. He makes the catch. Well hit ball. Tracked down by Billy Burns about 30 feet to the right of straightaway center. That's out number 2.
It did not sound as crisply as it did in the first game of the series when Caleb Joseph hit his to left center. I mean, you could just close your eyes and hear the crack of the bat. That one, a little bit of a thud, fortunately, off the bat of Reimold.
Well, these guys have hit 134 home runs this year.
Yes, they have.
Camden Yards, pretty good hitters park. Pretty
great.
Conducive home run park, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, pull out the tape measure. Let's really actually measure those.
Out to left center field. There was a big debate about that. I think it's listed, what, at like 364?
It's about 320. Now, Cal Ripken, I mean, why not? You know, you build those short walls and left center for the rip. I mean, he plays every day. Give him some benefits. You know?
So here's Caleb Joseph. Strike on the outside corner to him. 0-2. 3-1. The A's have the lead. They've out-hit the Orioles 4-2. We're playing in the 5th.
Speaking of that, someone said yesterday, I can't remember who it was, the consecutive games played is 171 now or something like that. And Ripken at 26-32.
Remember that Tejada had a long streak.
Prince Fielder also before last year.
Here's the 0-2 outside. It gets away from Fegley, and Schoop goes to second base. And that's a wild pitch.
He tried to anticipate a slider breaking out of the strike zone, and Fegley twice with the backhand. This one came closer with the ball off his glove, but boy, you almost are leaning in that direction with a slider, especially a chase slider on 0-2, and puts a runner in scoring position.
And that's Jonathan Schoop. Graveman, a 1-2 count to Caleb Joseph. Graveman steps off, and Fegley going through a series of signs with a runner at second base. Now the A's right-hander staring in, and Joseph a right-handed hitter. The kick, here it is, and it's swung on, tapped over the mound. A tough play, charge it short. Simeon double clutch, still has time to throw to first for the out. Marcus, a little bit of a problem getting the ball out of his glove, but Joseph doesn't run that well, and the A's get the 6-3 out at first base on Joseph with Schoop left at second. And halfway through our ball game today, after 4.5, the A's lead the Orioles 3-1. 2-0 for Baltimore in the deciding game of this 3-game set. Bob Melvin, the A's skipper, a one-time Oriole catcher. And he watches Wei-Yin Chen go to work on the A's in the bottom of the 5th with Fold, Laurie, and Butler. And Wei-Yin Chen to the plate. Here it is. And a breaking ball for a strike on the outside corner. Sam Fold is 0 for 2. And stole a base as part of the A's double steal back in the 3rd. The pitch to Sam is popped up foul straight back. There is action around baseball today, and the White Sox and Rays are in the 9th inning in a 5-5 tie. Evan Longoria, number 12 for Tampa Bay. Avisail Garcia, number 9 for the White Sox. The 0-2 to Sam is swung on, bounced weakly to second, charged by Scope. He's got it, and a flip to first for the out. Fold is out 4-3, and that'll bring up Brett Laurie. And the out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by the beautiful Waterfront Hotel in Oakland's Jack London Square. Visit waterfronthoteloakland.com and enter the promo code baseball to save on your next stay. So Fold is out number 1, and Brett Laurie standing in for the A's.
And Bob Melvin checking on Sam Fold.
Yeah, it was kind of awkward the way that he wound up in his follow-through after the swing, Ray, and then running on the infield grass down to first base.
Well, they fouled the ball, and then when he did swing, stumbled out of the box and ended up out on the grass.
So here's the pitch to Laurie, and he swings and fouls it back to the right out of play. Speaking of Tampa Bay, did you see the home run celebration? That was an all-timer by the kid Richie Schaefer. His first major league home run last night.
I mean, the lack of celebration.
It's great. Inside for a ball. You know how ordinarily when somebody hits his first major league home run, he gets the silent treatment, and all of his teammates run to the other end of the dugout? Well, that happened last night for Tampa Bay. Swinging a bouncy ball to the right side, giving ground at first as Davis raced to the bag. The throw, and in time with Wei-Yin Chen on the bag. So Davis ranging far toward the hole, and Brett Laurie is out with Chen covering. And
Bob Melvin's got to take a look, and at least momentarily, and then back in the dugout.
So the Yankees players are huddling.
Billy Butler.
Looked like Chen might have gotten him by an eyelash over there, but the Rays players are huddling at the far end of the dugout. The kid comes in after his first major league home run and starts high-fiving people, but instead it's like
it's an air five.
It's like pantomime.
Yeah.
You know, hey, and high five and hugs and the whole deal, and hugging people and celebrating in there, an invisible celebration almost.
That was his first hit as well, right?
Yeah.
Second AB, first hit. Pretty special.
And he's high-fiving nobody. It's fun. There's the pitch taken low by Billy Butler, and the count 1-0 with 2 out. We're playing in the bottom of the 5th in the final game of the series, and the A's lead 3-1.
It's nice they had a 10-1 lead.
Yeah, it's fun. Now the pitch, and Billy Butler, a line drive to third. It's bobbled by Machado, but he picks it up and throws to first in time, and Butler is out. So the A's go down 1-2-3. And after 5 complete at the Coliseum, the A's have a 3-1 lead. The Orioles come up in the top of the 6th with Manny Machado and then Parra and Jones at the top of the order against Kendall Graveman. Machado 0 for 2, and Graveman, this will be pitch number 64, and the righty delivers. And that swung on, driven to left center field. Canna going back, has a play about 20 feet from the track, and he makes the catch. 1 pitch and 1 away, and that'll bring up Gerardo Parra. The Angels and Indians in the 6th inning. It's a 1-1 tie. The Halos trying to break out of their offensive slump.
Now batting, number 18, Gerardo.
The breeze picking up a little bit here at the ballpark, but it's gorgeous. Temperature in the 70s. And Graveman's given up only 2 hits, and the A's lead 3-1. Parra's 0 for 2. He's K'd and bounced out, a left-handed hitter, and the pitch by Kendall Graveman is taken outside. Now, you caught X no-hitter for the Tribe back in '77.
Yes.
And
Memorial Day.
Carlos Carrasco, who was lights out against the A's last week, same thing last night against the Angels, swung on and missed, and the count 1 ball 1 strike. During that stretch, which included the no-hitter that you caught, Eck retired 27 consecutive batters, and that's what Carlos Carrasco did, starting with his effort against the A's and then continuing last night against the Angels.
But Eck, counting the game before the no-hitter and the game after, he came close to breaking the all-time record for most consecutive no-hit innings.
Here's the pitch, and it's bunted toward third. A beauty, down to get it, bare hand. Valencia throws to first, and not quite in time. A great try by Danny Valencia. The full-out charge, 1 motion throw after the bare hand pickup, and a bang-bang play at first, and Parra has a bunt single.
Excellent play by Valencia, but also for Parra, just trying to get on base in front of the power. And watching Parra hit the bag, he glided through. He did not jump at the bag, and that could have saved him, because that was a play that Valencia made bare hand and almost got it.
Number 10.
And that'll bring up Adam Jones. And he's 0 for 2. And he was robbed by Simeon in his last at bat. A couple of 6-3s on the scorecard for Adam Jones today. 3rd hit for the Orioles. A's lead 3-1, and the pitch is taken outside.
Graveman has already matched 2 previous games in which he had 11 ground ball outs, and so already today with 11 through 5 innings. Had another one for 10 ground ball outs, so he is a ground ball pitcher trying to get one now to get 2 outs.
Throw to first, not in time. Did you know early in that game, catching Eck, that he had no hit stuff?
Every time Eck pitched, he had a chance to pitch a no-hitter. I mean, he was, sinker slider, and just like the control we saw as a closer here, he had that as a starter. And back then, you could move a foot outside and get the pitch called a strike. Unlike now.
Were you nervous? Now the pitch swung on, foul back.
For him?
No, I mean in terms of the right pitches to call, and because the intensity certainly gets ratcheted up when somebody's going for a no-hitter.
All I remember is late in the game, Bobby Bonds, who was playing for the Angels, was in the right-handed batter's box, and I was so far into the left-handed batter's box that Bobby said to the umpire, "Would you have him get at least close to home plate?" Because I just kept moving out farther and farther.
The pitch to Jones, and that's outside. Who was the home plate umpire?
I don't know. To look it up. I mean, they said probably 200,000 people said they were there, and that's barely 6,000.
3,428.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those Memorial Day night games that people were far from Municipal Stadium.
Going to first, a close play, and diving back is Parra. 2 balls and 1 strike.
But Dwayne Kuiper drove in the only runs, 1-0. Frank Tanana, when he was throwing 100 miles an hour, pitched. But
for the Halos.
Right. Rick Manning actually caught the last out of Lynn Barker's perfect game.
Throw to first, not in time.
He was a center fielder. Ed Eckersley's no-hitter. Lynn Barker's perfect game was the last no-hitter that any Indians pitcher has ever pitched, and that was 1981. Carrasco came very close in the start that you mentioned out of Tampa.
Bill Deegan was your home plate umpire, right?
I knew you would find it.
Bill Deegan.
How many people were there?
Here's the pitch, and swung on a high drive center field. Burns back at the track. He's right to the wall, leaping at the wall, and he makes the catch and fires the ball back to the infield. And that was a piece of robbery right there by Billy Burns. He just took a home run away from Adam Jones.
Fortunately, a high fly ball that Billy Burns played it perfectly, got to the warning track to the wall, and then jumped up. And that was played as well as you can imagine by Billy Burns in center. I thought with the daytime that he had a chance, but Billy Burns got him.
You think it was going out if he doesn't catch it?
Very close. Very close. San Diego, similar play down there that maybe that one was not going out, but that was early in the game. But I wouldn't take a chance.
He wanted a new piece of luggage.
That's right.
So
he got
Chris
it.
Davis is coming up. And Graveman fires and a check swing and a pitch outside. It was either going out or it was going to hit the top of the wall.
Well, anything that close, you never know. I mean, look at Marcus Semien last night, hit the top of the wall and bounced over. So he just made a great play. And too many times an outfielder will let the wall stop them before they jump. He glided back, got to the wall, and then jumped straight up, which was the perfect play.
So 2 out, and Chris Davis swings and misses. And the count 1-1 with the A's leading 3-1 in the 6th inning.
By the way, Ray, the announced attendance on that Monday night was 13,400.
Well, you can multiply that by several that people said they were there, but it wasn't televised. I know that. They finally got a camera down in the 9th inning.
Throw to first, not in time.
That's why you only see the shot from underneath the overhang at Old Municipal Stadium. I think it was WKYC TV. They said, hey, there's no hitter at the Municipal Stadium. So they sent a camera, and there was that shot right underneath that they were able to make, and that's the extent of it.
Here's the pitch to Chris Davis, swung on line through the shift into right center field for a hit. Parra's around second. He's going to third. So Chris Davis delivers a base hit through the shift, even with the 3 A's on the right side of the infield. And the Orioles have runners at first and third.
Well, he's so strong, you're kind of hoping that he hits the ball on the ground as he just did, even though it went through the shift. But play by Burns to make it 2 outs, and there's always the possibility of Chris Davis doing some serious damage.
Now a big spot for Graveman with Jimmy Paredes coming up, and he's 0 for 2. Paredes has struck out and bounced out. Parra's at third, Davis at first. 3-1 A's, top of the 6th inning. This will be pitch number 75 for Graveman. And here it is, and it's swung on line to center. That's going to sink for a base hit. Parra has scored. Stopping at second is Davis. It's a 3-2 ball game on a line shot, single to center by Jimmy Paredes.
Isn't that amazing what a bunt does? Parra bunting. Started an inning with 1 out, and he comes around a score after 2 more singles.
So now Kurt Young is coming out. So the A's pitching coach, a visit to the mound as the A's get action going in their bullpen. Right-hander Fernando Rodriguez up and throwing for the A's. 3 runs, 4 hits for the A's, 2-5-0 for Baltimore.
In this inning, Kendall Graveman with the number of ground ball outs in the first 5. The only ground ball that's been hit has been the one that's gone through. Of course, the bunt was a different story, but fly ball by Machado, fly ball by Jones.
Great play by Burns, and Jones knows how that feels.
Absolutely.
Think of all the hitters he's robbed over the years. So big spot for Graveman with runners at first and second. The A's holding a 1-run lead here in the 6th. And the right-hander at the belt. Here's the delivery, and that's taken outside 1-0. Yeah, Len Barker and Bert Blyleven talking about Carrasco and Eck and Barker. Barker and Blyleven hold the Indians' record most consecutive batters retired at 31. And again, Barker's perfect game was an 81. Now the stretch, Graveman first base side. And the pitch to Hardy, and that's right down the middle, a strike with a fastball in 92. And Cleveland has taken a 2-1 lead over the Angels in the 6th inning. Here it's 3-2 A's. Graveman trying to work out of it. The runners lead. Here's the 1-1. And that's outside 2-1. 10th inning, and Tampa Bay and the White Sox are tied up at 5-5. Interleague play, Seattle and Colorado in a 3-3 tie in the 7th. Graveman, first base side of the rubber, turns and deals. It's lined to left center for a base hit. It's going to tie the game. Around third to score. Lumbering home is Chris Davis. Going from first to third is Paredes. J.J. Hardy lines a base hit to left center. And we start all over here in the 6th inning. The Orioles have scored 2 runs, and it's now a 3-3 tie.
3 consecutive 2-out hits, starting with Davis, and then the big RBIs. That's going to do it because Bob Melvin's coming out, and he's going to go to his right hand right of the bullpen.
So breaking the action, Melvin coming out as Graveman reaches the end of the line with 2 out in the 6th, and the Orioles have runners at first and third. Fernando Rodriguez has been summoned by the A's skipper. Graveman leaves the mound, heads back to the dugout. And with the A's and the Orioles tied up 3-3, we'll come back to the Coliseum after this. Bullpen. 2-1, a 3.82 ERA. He worked a scoreless inning in last night's game. He's allowed 23 hits in 33 innings, walked 12, and struck out 41. So big spot for him. Trying to keep it tied. 1-out bunt single by Parra. Then Jones the drive to center, and the robbery by Billy Burns. Then 3 consecutive hits by Davis, Paredes, and Hardy have tied it up.
It looks like Chin might be finished as well as the right-handers throwing their bullpen, and see Fernando Rodriguez. So a bullpen game, which is not surprising in today's world. Bullpen gets a lot of work.
Jonathan Scope is coming up.
This is big though for Fernando. With a good curveball, good fastball.
Now the pitch by Rodriguez, and Scope takes low. It's blocked by Fegley. The way the game is played today, Ray, you can't win without a great bullpen.
That's right. Yeah, just thinking about the great curveball from Fernando Rodriguez. First pitch to Scope, and Fegley does a great job of blocking it. And boy, you have to have the confidence in your catcher to do that. And Fegley and Vogt both have done a very good job for the A's.
So the runners lead from first and third. And here's the 1-0 pitch. And it's on the way by Rodriguez, and foul back. You've been impressed with Fegley's arm.
Oh, he's got a cannon. I mean, he can throw it. He can shut down a running game. And go back to what Johnny Oates, when he was managing the Rangers, and Pudge Rodriguez was there. Of course, Johnny Oates, the late Johnny Oates, a very good catcher, but he would tell the pitchers, don't worry about the runners at first. The guy behind the plate will take care of it. Well, Fegley's getting close to that. Still have to give him a chance.
Here's the pitch and waved it down and away. And Rodriguez ahead in the count, 1-2. Brad Brock is the right-hander throwing in the bullpen.
Well, you have to have, as a pitcher, a lot of concentration because Paredes came running down the line. And while he's not thinking about stealing, he's trying to disrupt the concentration of Rodriguez, maybe cause a balk.
Last pitch was the curveball you're talking about. Here's the pitch by Fernando. The kick on the way, and it's swung on and missed. Breaking ball in the dirt. Now they're saying foul tip. Hang on a second.
Oh, wow.
They're saying foul tip. The plate umpire Dan Bellino.
Wow.
And Fegley says, I'm not sure about that. And here comes Bob Melvin. And he's saying to Bellino, how about some help?
And they won't help anyway. And this is something he completely missed that by a foot. And, you know, the ball hit the ground, so the sound that Dan Bellino heard could have been anything. It definitely wasn't the bat. But, you know, Ken, this has happened already on this homestand where Canna struck out on a pitch that actually was foul-tipped, hit the dirt, the umpire behind the plate. It's not reviewable. If they're going to have plays reviewed, you have to be able to review that play right there because the umpire behind the plate completely missed it.
If reviewing plays is that important.
Exactly. Get them all.
Why can't you review a play like that?
Exactly. Anything in front. Well,
I don't think he was 6 inches from that ball.
Not even close. But Bellino heard something. And as a result, he thought it was a foul ball. I mean, ask for help. Don't even make the call. That's if the other guys were looking.
Well, so first and third, a 3-3 tie, 2 out, 2 in, top of the 6th inning. And here's the 1-2 pitch by Fernando Rodriguez. It's on the way. The high set, the kick, here it is. Swung on, hit foul, right side, out of play. Fastball 94.
That's too bad. Fegley did a great job of blocking the curveball. And the hitter missed it by a foot. And they still call it a foul ball.
Fernando out of the stretch. His outfield a gap in right center. The runners lead. Here's the pitch. And he drops the curveball in the dirt. A 55-footer. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why a play like that wouldn't be reviewable. It seems
it's in front.
It seems arbitrary to me.
Any play is, you know, in front, you know, for the umpires, and you know,
but who cares?
Check swing. I mean, they're going to take the time anyway. Review everything. If they ever go to the check swing. Whew.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. And Fegley sets up outside. It's on the way in the dirt. Now the count 3-2.
How much does that change the momentum, too? Because the heat of the moment, they thought they're out of the inning.
Right. Exactly. And now Fernando makes a great pitch, gets the strikeout, and then it's ruled incorrectly. And now he's got to make the pitches. And
Nolan Reimold is on deck. And on the 3-2 count, that means Hardy, the runner at first, he'll be going. Rodriguez checks in there. And Fernando. The turn, here's the pitch, and swung on, foul back, jammed him with a fastball up and in. Count holds 3-2. Jonathan Scope out of Curacao. One of those players who was a winning player in the Little League World Series and then got to the big leagues. Slightly open stance, and again the runners lead from first and third. And the pitch by Rodriguez. He kicks, delivers, and it's swung on and missed. A high fastball blows him away. Good job of battling back after the foul tip that wasn't called. And Rodriguez gets the strikeout of Jonathan Scope. The Orioles tie it up with a 2-run top of the 6th. To the bottom of the 6th, A's 3, Baltimore 3. Jonathan Scope at end of the top of the inning. The Orioles have tied it up. The ball game is 3-3 as Brad Brock comes out of the bullpen. And he'll be facing Valencia, Fegley, and Canna. Danny Valencia in his A's debut is 0 for 2, a right-handed hitter. Brock deals and a breaking ball strike on the outside corner. Brad Brock out of Monmouth University, a 42nd round pick of the Padres back in 08. He deals to Valencia on the way, and it's swung on and missed. A fastball up and in, 94. His first year with the Orioles was last year when he appeared in 46 games. Brad Brock. He's 29. And the 0-2 pitch is bounced fair down the right field line into the corner. Valencia turning at first. Parra digs it out. Here's a throw to second. The slide and save at second with his first hit as an Athletic is Danny Valencia. So he goes the other way and hits it just inside the bag at first.
Like everybody else. Two-strike hitting and good opposite field hitting.
But good approach, Ray, on a pitch that ran toward the outside corner.
You know, the A's have had too many opportunities. They could have blown this game open already with the runners at third and less than 2 outs and just not had. Really, they've not done it. And that's why it's now a 3-3 game.
So here's Fegley, a right-handed hitter. And Fegley takes outside. Well, yeah, they had a leadoff double by Butler in the second and didn't score. They scored their first run in the third, but in that inning, Wei-Yin Chen walked 3 and allowed a double. 2 doubles and a walk in the fourth when they scored twice. Here's the pitch, and Fegley takes outside, but a play the A's hope doesn't loom big was when the fourth inning ended with the runner at third, Simeon, getting picked off by the catcher Caleb Joseph on the throw to Machado. But now a leadoff double by Danny Valencia. Here's the 2-0 delivery, and Fegley fouls it back. The A's have tied a season high, by the way, with 5 two-base hits. Think about that, Ray. All of the A's hits have been doubles. Fegley is struck out and walked. The pitch by Brock is swung on, foul, back out of play. The A's and the Astros begin the 4-game series at 7:05 tomorrow night. The big White Cleats t-shirt giveaway is coming up on Saturday, Ray. And that's presented by Cache Creek Casino Resort. 15,000 fans get the White Cleats t-shirt giveaway.
Charlie O the Mule on one, White Cleats on the other. Got a lot of Charlie over there.
Here's the pitch to Fegley, and Brock fires, and it's swung on a miss, runs a fastball away, and Fegley slams the bat down. He knows that was an unproductive at bat with the runner at second and nobody out, and now with one away, Canna's coming up. Is Charlie O on the t-shirt?
Yeah. Well, no, Charlie O the Mule.
Oh, the Mule is on this shirt.
Yeah. That's Charles O. Finley, but Charlie O the Mule is on the t-shirt.
With the white cleats.
The iconic Charlie O.
That's what it says in the copy right here. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that iconic white cleats, yeah. That was designed by the great Charlie Finley.
So here's Canna. He's struck out and doubled. And now Brock steps off. I'm glad that no matter the ownership after Charlie Finley sold the team, of course the Haas family took over in '81, that the white cleats have stayed a huge part of the A's attire.
That's right.
Because it's a huge part of the A's tradition. Backward glance at second, it's on the way. Canna fouls it back. No balls and 1 strike.
CC tried to steal it for the Yankees when they pitched against us.
But I asked Steve Vucinich, and he says there aren't as many restrictions now on the shoe colors for uniforms of other teams. So you're seeing a lot of white in shoes by other teams, and to the point that, you know, like for example, the Yankees always wore black shoes. Now you're not seeing that because of all the manufacturers.
Right. You supposedly, if you're supposed to wear black shoes, You have to have 51% of the shoe with the black look. Low for a ball. And the count, they call it time?
They call it time, yeah.
Yeah, timeout. Because there was a deal with Brett Gardner. I think, wasn't it Gardner when CC was pitching that he taught Gardner? He said, you've got to wear white shoes, the shoes that he got at the All-Star game. But the fashion police took care of that. They got Gardner. So it's got to be 51%. Here's the pitch. Canna fouls it back. No balls and 2 strikes.
Well, the Blue Jays were in, and they had a lot of white in their shoes. But you have to watch out for the fashion police.
Oh, yeah, no. Did you feel faster when you put on the white shoes for the first time?
Faster with the red, actually, in Cleveland.
Because you were faster then.
That's right.
0-2, a tie game, 3-3, bottom of the 6th. Canna's at the plate. Now ready. Here it is. And it's swung on, bounce, foul, third base side. A big day. A lot of Cal people at the ballpark today. Of course, Canna played at Cal. Quanzo Martin, the head basketball coach for the Golden Bears, was on the field before the game.
So that was him, because he was doing a lot of talking. That Bob Melvin was talking too.
Sure, of course, the Cal connection. Marcus Semien as well.
Sam
doesn't talk to those people. Sam gets as far away as he can. In the dirt, taken outside. And the count 1-2.
Probably a lot of Cal people in the stands too from California.
That's correct.
Yeah. What do you think, Vinny? Unless we have some visitors coming in from other states.
See, there are people with Cal hats in the crowd today, Ray.
That's right.
I can claim the blue and gold, which are the traditional colors of the California University system, the UC system. Here's the pitch by Brad Brock, and Canna fouls it back. 3 runs, 6 hits for the Orioles, 3-5-0 for the A's.
Well, I wonder if Jed Lowry comes in, there'll be someone from Stanford coming over for the weekend series. What do you think? Huh?
Could be, yeah. Well, if Slusser is covering the game.
Jason Castro.
That's right.
Yeah, Jason Castro from Castro Valley. Canna swings and misses. So Canna strikes out. Man, a promise of getting for the A's. A leadoff double. Now back-to-back Ks. And Ike Davis will be coming up. Susan is doing a signing out here at 5 o'clock on Friday before the ball game in the West Side Club. Book signing, her book on the A's.
Okay. Are you going to joint venture?
A dual signing, so to speak. Here's Ike Davis coming up.
Well, Bill King's probably mentioned it in the book, right? So,
oh, yeah. There's a Bill King mention. There's a lot of Fosse in the book. Davis takes low, and the count 1-0. 2 out, a 3-3 tie. The A's have a runner at second, and that's Valencia. He led off with the double down the right field line. But Fegley and Canna Cade. No, there's a lot of Bill King, a lot of Fosse. It's a good book. Now the pitch, and that's taken for a strike on the outside corner. When I did my signings here after the Bill King book came out, we ran out of books in 2 days.
It's popular. That's good. So you brought in more cases.
No, we felt badly about the Sunday. Here's Davis with a pop-up, third base side, back of the coach's box. Plenty of room for Manny Machado. He's there, and he makes the catch. So Davis pops out. Valencia, a leadoff double, but he perishes there. And after 6, it's a 3-3 tie. for Raleigh. Ricky has 11. Eck has only 9. So Ricky and Eck are going to have to make a great charge here in the second half to catch.
That's horrible. How can Ricky not win every race? Ricky said,
I don't know.
Seriously, Ricky said Ricky's not in that uniform.
Ricky's not going to race if Ricky's not going to win.
That's right. When Ricky's here, Ricky's got to win always. He's sitting down there.
3-3 tie. It doesn't seem right.
No, of course not.
7th inning. Here's Vince.
Fernando against Nolan Reimold on the first pitch. Bounced weakly to third. Backing up on it is Valencia, and finally ruled a foul ball. He was ready to fire across the infield. And it is strike one. On a somber note, talking about Ricky, he was the favorite player of a Sergeant Scott Lunger, the Hayward Police Department member who was tragically killed recently and had the big event next door at Oracle in his honor. And this Sunday, the A's will be recognizing the family here at the Coliseum. Pre-game ceremony starting about 12:45. All the A's players will be wearing Hayward Police hats during batting practice. Fastball inside on Reimold. 1 ball and 1 strike. Sergeant Lunger's father, Paul, and his 2 daughters, Ashton and Sarah, who we saw many of the pictures with them regaled in different A's outfits, will be on hand to throw its ceremonial first pitches. 1-1, fly ball right center field. Chasing Burns back to the track near the wall at the athletic sign with room. He'll make the catch, and Reimold's retired on a long, noisy out to right center field. And Ricky Henderson was his favorite player, and Ricky will be on hand on Sunday to catch one of the ceremonial first pitches. So a nice way for the A's to do their best to honor the memory of Sergeant Scott Lunger this Sunday. Just sad story.
Too bad.
The A's also will be selling Hayward Police Department hats at a silent auction behind Section 120. Proceeds benefiting the Police Association, which does so much good in the community. Trying to give the kids alternative things to do that are in the right and not in the wrong. Joseph stands in, and the catcher takes a strike. It's 0-1. Caleb is 0 for 2 today. 3-3 game in the 7th, and the righty fires at a big curve lifted over third. A fair ball toward the left field corner, and Canna has to go chase it down. Into second base with a double is Caleb Joseph, his 10th of the year, and that has been the storyline today. 5 doubles for the A's and 2 now for Baltimore's Drew Pomeranz heats up in the A's bullpen.
And Fegley did a great job last inning blocking the curveball in the dirt with a run at third base. This time Fernando threw a curveball and left it up. So it's just one of those pitches that you try to get down as much as you can in the strike zone or even below to get a swing and miss, but he left that one up too much.
Now Machado. The Orioles did have a 1-0 lead at the end of 2.5. The A's tied it in their half with the 3rd, then took the lead in the 4th. And then back came the Birds with 2 runs in the 6th inning. Machado slightly open stance on the right side, and a fastball from Fernando is up and in, ball 1. Machado's 0 for 3 today. He's grounded at 3rd, bounced to 1st, and a fly ball to left. Kendall Graveman went 5 2/3, allowed 3 runs on 6 hits. Now look back at second, and Fernando may be sensing that Caleb Joseph might have an idea of what's happening, and he wants to change up the signs with Josh Fegley.
Always important to do that, Vinny, and sometimes a runner at second is criticized, and there are times that players get very upset when they relay the signs. Well, it's up to the catcher to make sure that doesn't happen, because you can change the signs every half inning, and you definitely want to do multiple signs with a runner at second base. If you get lazy, things like that can happen.
Here's the 1-0. Fastball bounced towards short, keeping the runner at second base. Simeon has it across the diamond in time for the second out. So Machado, who came into the game with 23 home runs and 20 doubles, has been silenced so far. He's 0 for 4. Another solid play by Marcus, and that'll bring Parra to the plate, and he'll be facing the left-hander Drew Pomeranz. So a pitching change at the Coliseum. Bob Melvin asking for the lefty, and Pomeranz comes on for Gerardo Parra. A's 3, Orioles 3. Back with more after this. Drew against the league, 4-4, 3.99 ERA. And he's made 33 appearances, 9 of those as a starter. The walks are the number that kind of scare you a little bit, 29 walks, but he has really relished the role coming out of the A's bullpen, and he gets Parra now, 2 outs, a man on in a 3-3 game.
And without looking at the actual numbers, other than the numbers that you talked about with the walks, you'd have to think that a lot of the walks have come against left-handed hitters whenever they've come in, and this has been kind of a special situation. He's getting better facing the lefties, and of course this is a big one now with Parra, a very good hitter in lefty on lefty.
His ERA just over 2.5 as a reliever. Parra started the rally last inning with a bunt single and later scored. And the first pitch, that knuckle curve, drops in for strike 1, and that's what you want. If you're going to throw the spike curve first pitch, it's not a show me pitch, it's a strike pitch. And it certainly allows him to dictate the rest of the at bat. Parra 1 for 3 today and 3 for 11 in the series. Joseph at second, the pitch off the plate outside and low, evens the count at 1-1. Outfield a bit the other way on Parra. Veteran player, not a sexy player, but the kind of player that the Orioles were looking for. They didn't make a big splash, but they did tweak their roster a little bit, and Parra is at the top of that list. Here comes the 1-1. Fastball right through the heart, a called strike at 92, and it's 1-2.
And after the curveball, he might have been looking for another one because he took a fastball, a good fastball, and Pomeranz has talked about airing it out, not holding anything back coming out of the bullpen. And that's what makes him very good with really 2 pitches.
Oakland 3, Baltimore 3 in the 7th. The sign by Fegley. At the belt comes Pomeranz. The lefty's leg kick and pitch. Fastball fouled back. When he throws that spike curve for first pitch strike.
Right.
And the opposition knows that that's his main weapon. You kind of mentioned, I mean, how much does it stay in the hitter's mind?
It has to, but the key for Pomeranz, and whether with the knuckle and the spike curve, how hard can he throw it? It's better to throw it hard lefty on lefty. They're going to be bailing anyway. And so if you throw it hard, you may get some swing and misses at bad pitches.
1-2 the count. And Drew to the plate. Swing and a miss. Got him with a fastball up and away at 92. And Parra is down on strikes, and the inning is over. So a 1-out double, and Joseph is stranded at second base. Pomeranz gets the job done. On to the bottom of the 7th, all tied at 3. He's keeping it knotted at 3. And Marcus Semien, who's had another solid day for the A's at the plate and in the field, will get things going against Brad Brock. Semien, Burns, and Fold. Pomeranz has really been quite a weapon for the A's. Multiple innings, can face righties and lefties. and pitching late in the game when a lot certainly is riding on the line. So here's Semien. He's walked and doubled home 2. He's also scored a run. He swings at the first pitch and fouls it back for strike 1. A confident cut there against Brock.
One of inning, and there were some people talking about how maybe the defensive struggles of Marcus Semien were affecting him offensively. And just wonder how much it coincides with the fact he's playing better defensively, and now offense, he's swinging the bat very well.
Here's the 0-1. Breaking ball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, if you're climbing a ladder, you can't jump 3 or 4 rungs. You have to take it step by step.
And I was just going to say, while defense he's been working on, it's not just
1-1 pitch is hit hard to left field. A line drive base hit lands on a bounce in front of Ryan Wood. That is the A's first hit. That's not a double. It's a leadoff single, beginning the bottom of the 7th.
Just going to say, hitting is not easy, and I was not insinuating that because his defense is better, he's going to be a better hitter. You're going to have struggles both sides. And now he's accomplished working at shortstop. His hitting has been there, and just like everybody else, you're going to go through some tough times. I mean, ask Stephen Vogt how happy he was to get a couple of doubles the other night. You know, and so you pitched carefully, strongly, and hitting is hard to do.
Now Burns stands in and a throw to first. Look, I'm not comparing the 2 players, but remember, Josh Donaldson went up and down like 3 times.
That's right.
He couldn't quite find it till the final 6 weeks of 2012. Look how he has evolved.
Absolutely.
And you've got to remind yourself with a young player like Semien that there is a process and you cannot fight the process.
And count how many shortstops have played on championship teams.
A bunt by Burns tried to drag it up the first baseline and kind of stayed on the bat a little too long and fouled it back. Now it's 0-1 on Billy.
There was always that statement, you can't win a championship if you have a rookie shortstop. So, I mean, it's a very important position defensively up the middle. Derek Jeter, 96. They did quite well, and for many, many years for him. But, you know, Rizzuto maybe, or Pee-wee Reese, going back a long time.
The 1 strike offer. Down and in, moving the feet of Burns. 1-1 the count on Billy, who's 0 for 2 with a walk and a stolen base. We're in the bottom of the 7th. The A's 3 and the Orioles 3. The winner today wins the series.
What about the Astros and Carlos Correa?
Right, exactly. Walt Weiss here, won the Rookie of the Year in '88. Of course, they went to the World Series and lost to the Dodgers.
1-1 the count. Turn the throw back to first. The submarining Darren O'Day, the right-hander, loosening in the bullpen right now for the Orioles.
I think the biggest thing, too, again, Marcus Semien, and just kind of put it to bed, but the fact that Bob Melvin keeps running out shortstop. I mean, a lot of people say moving the outfield or whatever. He's kept him at shortstop, and I think that's a credit to Melvin and to Semien.
Draws another throw. He picked up his 10th steal earlier today, and certainly he's on the mind of Brad Rock, and that, as we learned talking to Mark Hanna on Sunday with Sam Fuld at first base against Cleveland, how much was Cody Allen maybe divided with his attention with the runner? That might be the case here, and that could help Burns. Machado closing in at third base. The pitch is fouled back by Burns. Now behind at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You know, last night Burns is second with Gonzalez. I mean, he kept looking back. There were 2 outs. You don't get the hitter, but he was still concerned about it.
Chicago won today on a walk-off walk. They beat Tampa Bay 6-5. Cleveland in the 8th in front of the Angels 3-1. And Seattle leading Colorado 5-3 in the 8th. That is in the Rockies, against the Rockies. 1-2 pitch, fouled back. Battle continues. Burns and Brock, bottom of the 7th. Sam Fuld waiting on deck. The Orioles do have 3 lefties in their bullpen, with Mattis, their closer Zach Britton, and T.J. McFarland. The A's do not have a right-hand batter on the bench today. Fastball outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. On the bench are Stephen Vogt and Eric Sogard, and we don't know the availability of Coco Crisp and Josh Reddick. I mean, Josh probably wasn't going to start today against this particular left-hander, and Coco was a stiff after playing back-to-back games, plus making that jarring diving catch last night. Here's a 2-2. Fastball blooped out of play over the A's dugout, and the battle continues against Brock.
I always think about Billy Burns' the way he's able to foul off tough pitches, and Wade Boggs, the Hall of Famer, when he played at Red. You talk about
almost in the mid.
Exactly. I mean, it just, oh, that's a pretty good pitch. I'm going to foul it. And the stands were so close. He got a number of extra swings. And Billy Burns, while he's playing on a much larger park here, he is able to foul off the tough ones.
Now Caleb Joseph is going to meet with Brock, and we're going to try to figure out the best method they think to retire the pesky leadoff man for the A's. You know, Billy Burns, we talk about all the singles and the infield hits and whatnot. You know, his slugging percentage actually is higher than Billy Butler's this year.
Wow.
Now he's gotten a lot more hits. I mean, Butler's hit the home runs. Burns has hit the triples, and he just basically had more hits, more singles than Butler has had. 2-2, swung on and foul tipped and held on by Joseph. Man, tough pitch. Great catch by the catcher for out number 1 as Simeon remains at first base.
Well, it has to be tick-tick and just that close to going into the catcher's mitt. So rare with a true foul ball that a catcher's able to hang on.
So Josh Reddick is going to come off the bench. So we've gotten the answer to one scenario and how much availability would the A's get out of Reddick. He's going to step up here and he's going to pinch hit for Sam Fuld in the bottom of the 7th with the A's and Orioles tied at 3.
And Vinny, I wonder how much of this is on Sam Fuld and the fact that because of what happened his last at bat, there was attention paid to him by Bob Melvin and Walt Horn. He did go out and play defense, but he fouled the ball off his foot, and then awkwardly, as he swung the bat, kind of awkwardly fell off the plate. So we'll see. Just, I mean, stayed in the game, so I have to think he's okay, but he had a tough at bat in his last one.
Here's Reddick, a .283 average, 13 homers, 58 RBIs, left-hand hitter. And Brock's first delivery, a sinker down and away, ball 1. Good weapon for the A's to have come off the bench. Josh 1 for 7 as a pinch hitter with a couple of RBIs, and they will overshift now and put 3 infielders on the right side. The pitch outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Why set up the shift and pitch him away?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get it.
Well, and especially the spray chart's going to show that Reddick has gotten a number of hits to left field, especially with pitches outside.
And that would allow Simeon to easily get to third base. Machado playing straight up at short, the only man on that side of the infield. And another sinker is low and outside. And the new and improved Josh Reddick is not expanding his strike zone and rolling over on pitches that he might have chased earlier in his career. He's been in the top 5 all year and toughest to strike out in the league. See if he's got a green light. 3-0 in a 3-3 game in the 7th. He takes it right through the heart, took it all the way, and it's 3-1. Brett Lawrie waiting on deck. Simeon steps away at first base. He is the go-ahead run. Has a good lead, and the pitch swung on, took a little bit off, delivered a changeup, and Josh out ahead of it, filling the count at 3-2.
Now Simeon's going to be running, and I think back to the Phillies and the Yankees, the World Series, when Johnny Damon stole second. Nobody was covering third because of the shift. He just kept running.
Right.
So now is Hardy covered as third baseman. So interesting. He's going to be running, I would think.
Here he goes. 3-2 pitch. It is low, ball 4, and that allows the Orioles to reset their defense. But the A's have got 2 on with 1 out, and here comes Buck Showalter as always. Right hand in the back right pocket. Points with the left arm, and he wants the submariner Darren O'Day for Brett Lawrie. So a break in the action. Pitching change here at the Coliseum. A's 3, Orioles 3, and we're back with more after this. in 41 games, a 5-1 record. 11 walks, 52 strikeouts, only 27 hits allowed with that sweeping breaking ball.
Right field.
He has allowed 4 home runs this year, and he's going to face Brett Lawrie, and you got to just fight preventing your backside if you're Brett Lawrie heading toward the A's third base dugout as you attempt to swing and make contact here on the right-hander O'Day.
But if O'Day pitches like he wants to pitch, that's everything sweeping away from the right-hander. So it's like lefty on lefty. You keep the front shoulder tucked in, you look outside, and if he pitches you in, I'd hit you. Who knows?
2 on, 1 out. A's in a 3-3 deadlock with the Orioles. And Brett is 0 for 2 in his career against O'Day, who delivers, and the breaking ball cut on and missed, coming from down under, and that is strike 1. O'Day is bounced around a little bit, but he has found a home as a primary setup man for the Orioles. Looks into Caleb Joseph. A's with good speed with Reddick and Simeon aboard. Fastball up high, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. O'Day was a closer in college at the University of Florida and was initially picked by the Angels as an undrafted free agent in 06. Got to the big leagues 2 years later. Then the Mets, Texas, and now his 4th year with the Orioles. A .245 career ERA. The 1-1. Swung on high, fly ball behind third, and back out of play as Machado comes over near the tarp. Won't have a play. It's about 8 or 9 rows deep. And it's now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Just goes to show you if you've got a unique motion and you can consistently deliver with it, and you can get right-handers out like O'Day can, you're going to find yourself having a nice career.
That's right.
And when the A's do play Arizona at the end of this year, we're going to see Brad Ziegler, who's now the closer for the Diamondbacks. A breezy afternoon here at the O.co. Oakland 3, Baltimore 3, bottom of the 7th. And 1-2 the count on Lawrie. Billy Butler waiting on deck. A high set, and O'Day's pitch. Swung on, foul back. As Brett kind of diving out over the plate, did get enough of it to hang in there. That's the thing about Lawrie. Even whether he's facing a conventional pitcher or somebody like O'Day, who, like we mentioned, likes to make everything work away from a right-hand batter, he dives across the plate anyway with his swing.
Exactly.
He starts off the plate, then moves toward it as part of his setup, attacking the pitcher. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And O'Day back to the plate. And he came up and in. Look out. He's telling Lawrie there'll be no more diving with that close shave. And he goes down on the deck to make it 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And Lawrie hops right back up saying, yep, I'm going to dive out there, but if you come up and in, I'll get out of the way.
Man, hello.
But you'd have to think the next one's going to be outside. That's a purpose pitch. And a very good one. But Parra very shallow in right field, as is Jones in center. Again, very shallow for a power hitter.
And they're off the lines at first and third. 2-2. Swung on, hit in the air toward the bullpen of the Orioles, giving Chase Davis along with Parra. And it's past them, past the bullpen, and back into the crowd. It stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Some of the great bad ball hitters of the past have to be saying, yeah, I like this Lawrie guy, because he's swinging everything. I mean, it's amazing how he's able to get on top of high fastballs as he did last time with the triple.
They give him the entire left field corner. And Jones willing to sacrifice the angle to get a ball in front of him, playing shallow in center. As shallow as any defender at that position we see at the Coliseum all year. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Got him on the slider away, and he's gone on strikes. And that's it for Brett Lawrie, and Billy Butler will be called back, and here comes Stephen Vogt. So the A's have their weapon here that they wanted to use in a situation, and this is the time, as Darren O'Day is going to face a left-handed batter in Stephen Vogt.
I mean, just thinking about the ball that's up and in, or was up in, into Brett Lawrie. Unlike what Herrera did in Kansas City, a little bit different today because it was a purpose pitch. Well, the other one was a purpose also. At least pointing his head was a purpose. But that's the difference. The hitter's never going to get angry with something like that happening, because you know as a hitter you're looking for certain pitches away. So if a pitch comes up and in, while under normal circumstances it wouldn't be close, but because you're diving, it seems like it's all over you.
This is where the A's really need the Stephen Vogt, who was the all-star, to step up, doing so well all year with runners in scoring position. Hit an 0 for 28 skid, which ended on Monday night with a couple of late doubles. Then went 0 for 4 yesterday. He's got the pant legs pulled up. He'll try anything to snap out of the funk. And also snap a 3-3 tie here in the bottom of the 7th.
And the best thing for Stephen Vogt is the left side, hitting the ball to left field. And he knows he's been opening up a little bit too much. Maybe this sidewinder will help him stay closed.
Batting .261, 14 homers and 59 driven in. Stephen Vogt pitch hitting for Billy Butler. And O'Day readies. Looks back at second base and comes to the plate. Backdoor slider nudges the corner for strike one. Now lefties are batting about 100 points higher against O'Day, 255 to 152. And Vogt, who's been among the league leaders with runners in scoring position all year, trying to find that magic here in the bottom of the 7th. O'Day readies and comes to the plate. Check swing. Did he go? We'll ask at third. The answer is no. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Vogt 1 for 7 with 5 walks as a pinch hitter. Just 3 for 31 in this role. But I think you can make the case that Stephen has grown as a hitter over the years. And maybe those are some early numbers. A .344 batter with runners in scoring position. He's got one out there in Simeon at second. The 1-1 fake and the throw back to second. An inside move by O'Day with Hardy jockeying in behind Simeon, but the throw not in time.
That's a big time inside move.
I mean, he got halfway into his motion.
I know.
As he goes down in that side winding position and then quickly turned his back shoulder, his right shoulder to his right to open up and look towards second base. 1-1 the count. The pitch swung on and dribbled foul up the third baseline. And now 1-2 the count on Vogt. Oakland 3, Baltimore 3. It's been that way since the top of the 6th inning, when the Orioles got 3 2-out hits to tie the game with RBIs from Jimmy Paredes and J.J. Hardy chasing Kendall Graveman. It is a battle of bullpens now. Graveman 5 2/3. Wei and Chen went 5, both with no decisions today. 1-2 on Vogt. O'Day a long look in. Shortstop Hardy shading up the middle. Machado a good 20 feet off the third baseline. A swing and a foul. I don't know if Stephen even got a piece of that one. Fought off a sinker down and away. It just did nub it as it dribbled up the first baseline. Tough pitch. Danny Valencia waiting on deck. $20,000 on hand on a gorgeous Wednesday afternoon at the Coliseum. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And the pitch swung on, popped up near the A's dugout. Machado giving chase, still coming along with Caleb Joseph. Goes into a slide and can't get there. So a break for Stephen Vogt. Machado, a very athletic and agile third baseman, came over toward the A's dugout along with Caleb Joseph, and neither could get to it and make the catch.
And that probably a result of the positioning, playing him more to pull the ball, and had a long run for Machado. And as we have seen often, left-handed hitter hitting the ball in that direction, it's going to come back into play, and it did land on the warning track.
And I think if you're Darren O'Day, you're saying, I just don't want to give a free pitch or two to Stephen Vogt, as good as he has been for the A's all year. 1-2 the count. And O'Day fires, and the pitch is up and away. A close pitch and a tough take evens the count at 2-2. Orioles in a stretch where they've got to make a move. This play began today, 6.5 behind the Yankees for the East, and behind Los Angeles and Toronto for the wild card. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the righty offers, and the pitch is yanked foul over first base. He hooked it out of play. And the battle continues 2 balls and 2 strikes. The next pitch will be the 8th of the at bat.
And for a left-handed hitter, you figure it's going to be the backdoor sweeping breaking ball, or the one that he just swung and hit, and that's down and in. And of course, the sinker is a good pitch as well. So he's got an assortment that he can throw 2 lefties.
O'Day versus Vogt. 2 on, 2 out. In a 3-3 game in the 7th, the pitch. Backdoor breaking ball freezes Vogt. He thought the call was outside. He is gone a looking, and the inning is over. The A's threatened, but back-to-back Ks by O'Day gets the job done for Baltimore. On to the 8th, a 3-3 tie. It's back to work in the 8th inning against Adam Jones, Chris Davis, and Jimmy Paredes. Tell you about that. Take it the rest of the way on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Once again, here's Ken.
Reddick stays in the game for the A's in right field. And Drew Pomerantz, who came out of the bullpen in the 7th inning and struck out Gerardo Parra to end the inning. He gets Adam Jones leading off, and Jones is 0 for 3. He's been robbed twice. And here's the pitch. Pomerantz deals, and a check swing. Did he go? The appeal, and no on the appeal down to first to Chris Siegel. 3 runs, 7 hits for the Orioles. 3 runs, 6 hits for the Athletics. Jones robbed in the 4th by Simeon. In the 6th inning by Billy Burns. Here's the pitch, and Pomerantz fires a fastball that's taken inside, and now the count 2-0. Both teams scoring in the 3rd. The A's took the lead with a 2-run 4th. And then the Orioles tied it up with a 2-run 6th. Here's the stretch, and Pomerantz ready and delivers. And Adam Jones swings and misses a big cut. Now it's 2-1. Adam Jones out of San Diego. 1st-round pick of the Mariners in 03.
And a pretty nice trade for the Orioles.
Absolutely. Eric Bedard. That was the deal involving Bedard going to Seattle, and the Orioles got Adam Jones, and they got Chris Tillman, among others. And Jones hits a line drive, soft line drive, taking it short by Simeon. That's out number 1. Jones 0 for 4. And that'll bring up Chris Davis.
And actually, for Adam Jones to be able to play 81 home games at that park, Oriole Park at Camden Yards versus Safeco Field, as Robbie Cano.
Well, that's one of those deals that can turn a franchise around.
Sure.
Tillman was supposed to start the first game of the series Monday night, but he rolled his ankle last Wednesday, and so he was scratched. He's having a good year.
Yes, he is.
So here's Davis. He has walked, struck out, and singled, and Pomerantz lefty on lefty with a fastball for a strike, and he is shift the infield. Only Valencia on the left side. Davis 27 home runs on the year. You can't make a mistake to this guy. Pomerantz on the way. Swung on and missed. The A's feel that they can get Davis out with fastballs, but they have to be located.
You mean that certain window the size of a baseball in a certain location, and you miss the window and you break it because it's going to end up in the seats, as was the case on Monday night.
Here's the 0-2 with one out, and that's taken just outside. Look where Laurie is playing. I mean, he's playing as the fourth outfielder. He's the rover out there in right. He's way out there in right field.
That allows Reddick to back up even farther in right field. He normally plays shallow.
Now the 1-2 delivery, and Pomerantz with a breaking ball in the dirt. You know, that's a good point that I really haven't thought of. That's an aspect of the shift. Because if the second baseman gets out there as far as Laurie is, you're right, Ray. You can back up the right fielder.
And of course, you can back up so far because with Davis, if he hits him, it doesn't matter because he has the power to leave the yard.
Now the pitch by Pomerantz, and swung on a miss. There's a fastball away at 93, and Davis checks with the plate umpire Bellino and asks, would that been a strike? And I think the answer was yes.
But I think back to when Bob Cluck was a pitching coach and Barry Bonds was still playing, and they talked about pitching him inside, and Bob would say there's a window and it's the size of a baseball and it's right there. If you can hit that window, pitch him in. Otherwise, you're going to make a mistake and he's going to hit it a long way.
Here's Jimmy Paredes, who's 1 for 3. A's 3 in the Orioles, 3 in the 8th inning. And it swung on foul back. I don't think there's anything that irks you more. And let's say it's the 9th inning and you've got a 1-run lead and a power hitter is up there and you try to come inside. Right?
Yes, especially in today's world, because I always say 330 down the line is much easier for a home run to leave than to go opposite field. And I don't care who they are.
So the pitch, the 0-1, is a breaking ball outside. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
You thinking about Manny Ramirez?
Yeah, and then the other day I was thinking about Krasinski with that home run that tied the game for the Braves against the Giants.
Just the mention of his name.
Something about Krasinski and Fosse. Here's a pitch outside for a ball, and it's 2-1. Not oft times used in the same sentence.
Well, it's just the one thing that happens. You try to pitch inside, you're more likely to make a mistake inside, and those are usually pitches that end up towards the middle of the plate and result in home runs.
The pitch is fouled back. Wasn't it Krasinski who hit a home run against the A's in the 5th game of the 2002 playoffs for the Twins?
Made it a 4-run lead. It's off Billy Koch. And then Mark Ellis hit a 3-run home run off Eddie Guardado to make it the 1-run lead again, and the A's lost it.
Yeah. Here's Paredes, a switch hitter batting right. And now at the belt, the pitch by Drew Pomerantz, and it's swung on and missed. A fastball away, and Pomerantz blows away the Orioles in a 1-2-3 8th inning with 2 strikeouts. And we go to the bottom of the 8th, and it's still a 3-3 tie. 7:05. For the A's, Danny Valencia leads it off against Darren O'Day. O'Day out of the pen, faced 2 batters, got 2 Ks when the A's had 2 runners on base in the bottom of the 7th. So Danny Valencia in his A's debut. O'Day deals. There's a strike, 0-1. Valencia has bounced out, struck out, and doubled. He had 8 at-bats against the Orioles earlier this year with Toronto, and so he's now 3 for 11 against Baltimore. O'Day in a tie ball game in the 8th. Here it is, and swung on and missed. The breaking ball away, and the count 0-2. The A's going out on the road after the Houston series. They'll fly to Toronto on Monday. They'll play a 3-game series against Valencia's former team beginning on Tuesday night. And then the A's play the Orioles in a somewhat odd 4-game set. Here's a pitch outside, in that it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday at Camden Yards, with a day game on Sunday, but a night game on getaway day a week from Monday.
And you think about this game, it's a getaway day game for the Orioles, and they will go to Anaheim. I think it's Anaheim, right? They'll stay on the West Coast.
Edward Mujica throwing in the A's pen as Valencia hits a 2-hopper down to short to J.J. Hardy, who throws him out. 1 away. Yeah, they're on the West Coast swing as they go to Anaheim and Seattle.
And they're playing the 3 teams one time, make 1 trip west from the East Coast and play all 3 teams and head back. But I think that the thing that, well, the A's play a lot of day games on getaway days. And yet the Orioles will have a night game Monday, and the A's will be flying back to play Tuesday night here.
They play the Dodgers here the next night on the 18th at 7:05. So here's Fegley, a right-handed hitter, and the pitch to Fegley is a slider strike on the outside corner. That's the Mark McGwire bobblehead night, driven by Chevrolet. A's and the Dodgers, 7:05 on the 18th. 15,000 fans get the Big Mac bobblehead, and he'll be here with the Dodgers as their hitting coach. O'Day to the plate, and it's swung on, bounced up the middle. Hardy to his left, can't get it. A base hit to left center field. So Josh Fegley delivers a base hit. The go-ahead run is on base. And Mark Canha's coming up. If you're thinking about a pinch runner, Stephen Vogt is in the game as the A's DH. The other catcher, of course. And Canha's coming up. The only extra player the A's have would be Sogard, unless Coco is available this afternoon, is Dave Wallace, the pitching coach. Slow walk out to the mound for Wallace, and a lefty is up and throwing in the bullpen for Baltimore.
Well, this is to get the lefty loose for Ike Davis, because Dave Wallace normally hustles out to the mound.
That's their closer, Zach Britton, who's throwing for Buck Showalter, who entered today with 1,313 wins. Dave Wallace made his mark as the pitching coach for the Dodgers. He was a fixture over there.
Why, Dave, I guess he really wants to have eye contact, because he always takes his glasses off and puts them on his cap when he goes out to look right in the eyes of the pitcher.
Well, that's part of his communication, or maybe the psychology.
Oh, yeah.
You had Wes Stock.
That's right. Wes
for your years
great.
here.
Wes could throw batting practice 24/7, and a great pitching coach.
Here's Mark Canha, a right-handed hitter. Fegley takes his lead, a tie game, and the pitch is taken inside. We saw Wes Stock last year.
Seattle.
Seattle, that's right, in Seattle.
Yeah, he lives in the Seattle Northwest area. Dave Henderson's in town.
Dave.
They're having their fantasy camp, and so it's going to be a fantasy baseball game this afternoon after this one of the participants in January at the new spring training facility of the Athletics in Mesa.
So the pitch to Canha, right-handed hitter. Here it is, and swung on a miss. Dave Henderson hit his first major league home run right here at the Coliseum as a visiting player. His home opener, 1981.
None bigger, though, than the one of Donnie Moore.
The 86 playoffs for the Boston Red Sox.
Ball down the right field. We'll see if anybody notices it running around on the warning track.
So O'Day working out of the stretch in a tie game in the 8th inning. The pitch by O'Day and a breaking ball taken outside. And the count 2-1.
I think that mark down there, the security guard, is going to sign it and give it to a fan like he did last night.
Did Weststock go to Seattle when Dick Williams was the manager? Was he the pitching coach with Dick there?
He was there when I went there in '77. West was there. And that was I think who the manager was.
It was before Dick managed the
Mariners.
Right. So here's the pitch to Canna, and the delivery is swung on and missed. And Mark Canna trying to face a tough right-hander. Now the count 2-2.
Well, the slider, it's kind of a frisbee, and it's tough for a hitter to stay back. And I tell you, the thing that enables O'Day to have success is changing the velocity, the speed on the slider that he throws.
Big pitch right here. It's a 2-2 with 1 out. Fegley at first. O'Day in a tie ball game. And it's swung on and bounced to short to his right. Taken by Hardy. Goes to second. Relay by Scope and not quite in time. Canna can get down the line. Little chopper took Hardy to his right. So not an ideal double play ball. And the A's keep the inning alive as Canna beats the return throw by Jonathan Scope. And that'll bring up Ike Davis, and that'll bring Showalter out of the dugout. And we're going to get Zach Britton, one of the best relievers in the game, to face Ike Davis with a runner at first in a 3-3 tie in the bottom of the 8th. O'Day will exit. Britton comes on, and we'll come back to the Coliseum after this. First. And Ike, who doubled, bounced out and popped out, is coming up against Britton. Interesting usage of his closer in the 8th inning in a tie game, Ray.
I don't recall that he's pitched in the series, so he's well rested, and I would think an out, and then they try to score in the top half and have him try to save it, but the A's will try to do their best to get a hit off him and keep it going.
So Ike at the plate. The pitch is swung on and missed. Fastball 95 from Britton. They tried Britton as a starter. Didn't work out that well in that role. But, man, as a closer, he's been lights out.
Well, they had Hunter, who was in the rotation, moved him to the bullpen, traded him.
Tommy Hunter just dealt to the Cubs for Junior Lake. Here's the pitch to Ike, and that's taken outside. But as we've said many times, oftentimes on the road, the manager will wait until his team takes the lead to bring the closer in the game. And sometimes you can wait all day, and he never comes in.
And I think some of those philosophies have changes. I think managers start looking, if this is a pitcher can get me into the next inning, and in case of Britton, he could pitch multiple innings probably.
Runner goes, a big jump taken outside. Here's the throw to second, and the dive, and out at second base is Canna. Hardy took the throw, and a close play at second. A good throw by Caleb Joseph, although Canna got a good jump.
And he's
cut down. I'm not sure he's convinced of it, Ray.
No, he's not. Matter of fact, he looked up to Bob Melvin, and that's why they're taking a little extra time. And Joseph had a low throw, and see if he got the tag in quickly enough, and evidently he did, because
so the A's aren't going to ask for replay, and that caught stealing 2-6 ends the bottom of the 8th inning. We're going to the 9th here at the Coliseum in a 3-3 tie. Goes to the 9th inning in a 3-3 tie. 2-3, a 4.11 ERA for Mujica, and the pitch taken for a strike by J.J. Hardy, who's 1 for 3. Mujica now the closer for the Athletics. Each team with 7 hits and 3 runs. Hardy 1 for 3. Mujica, a fastball bounced over the mound, back a second into center field, and that quickly the Orioles have the go-ahead run on base as Hardy singles to center in the 9th. You can follow the Athletics all season in 2015 with MLB.com at bat. The #1 app for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, statcast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. So that'll bring up Jonathan Scope, who's had a big series. Valencia close to the bag over at third. The pitch by Mujica swung on, bounce to short. Can they turn 2? Here's the flip, and Laurie goes to first, and the A's get a 6-4-3. From Simeon to Laurie on to first to Ike Davis. Man, that turns this inning around in a hurry.
Boy, 3 pitches, 2 outs, and another ground ball. This one, though, right to Simeon, and there's that strong arm of Brett Laurie at second base. Taking the throw. He gets over there fast.
It's been seamless so far for him going there today, Ray. And Valencia's played a good third base.
Well, Laurie with his arm strength, he's playing on the outfield grass now. It's nobody, or 2 outs, and Reimold up, the right-hander.
And he's 1 for 3, a 3-3 tie in the 9th, and Mujica with a strike on the inside corner. Graveman, Rodriguez, Pomerantz, and Mujica for the A's. Now the pitch to Nolan Reimold is cued foul down the first baseline. The A's bullpen has been solid today so far. Fernando Rodriguez, a scoreless inning. Pomerantz faced 4 batters, retired all 3 by strikeout. And now Reimold at the plate, facing the A's closer Mujica in the 9th inning.
Fernando Rodriguez struck out Scope twice. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, in 1 at bat. Yes. That's hard to do. And it's high for a ball.
By the way, in that at bat, Josh Phegley blocked 3 great curveballs from Fernando, and one of them was called a foul ball that Scope missed by a foot. But still able to throw the high fastball by him and get the big strikeout.
Here's the pitch, and that's low and outside. That's one of the stats that you keep, which is important, and that is blocks by a catcher. There was one game, I think you said Phegley blocked 5
in the 9th inning with Tyler Clippard pitching.
Right. That was the 40-pitch inning for Clippard.
And he blocked 5 with a runner at third base.
Here's the delivery, and it's swung on and foul back.
But you know, Vogt and Phegley and other catchers have done a very good job, even other teams. But from the A standpoint, Marcus Jensen, he has worked tirelessly with the catchers and as the assistant hitting coach working with Darren Bush. But you put that amount of work in, and you're very proud of your catchers whenever they're able to keep runners where they should be.
And the pitch is swung on and popped up. Center field, Billy Burns fighting the sun. He's under it, waiting for it. He's there, and he makes the catch. Burns makes the play. The game you mentioned was the game against Toronto on July 22nd. The A's have a chance to win it. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. And Semien will be coming up. When the bottom of the 8th inning ended when Canha was caught stealing. And so his spot is due up, and Coco is going to bat for him, and then Semien, and then Burns in a 3-3 tie. Coco, a good return to the fold. He was 1 for 3 with a walk in the ball game last night, and he had hits in his first 2 at bats in the first game of the series. And he'll bat right against Zach Britton. And Britton from the third base side. Coco waits, and he swings and misses 0-1. Britton was on the hill when Canha was caught stealing. Coco 2 stints on the DL this year.
Arnold Leone getting loose for the Athletics in the event they go to 10.
Here's the pitch by Britton, and Coco takes low, and the count 1 ball 1 strike, trying to figure out a way to get on base.
Well,
he hates looking up at the scoreboard and seeing the average at 0.96.
Yeah. And knowing that it's game 109.
Right.
If it's game 2 or 3, it's one thing, not this late.
Just stay in the moment.
Yep.
Forget about that. And Coco, it's a ground ball to short. J.J. Hardy has it. He turns and guns to first, 1 away. And that'll bring up Semien.
Just thinking, Ken, with all the interchangeable parts, the versatility of the A's players, Bob Melvin and Mike Andretti as bench coach, they can start looking at one guy left, and that would be Eric Sogard. You start moving guys around, so we may see, if it does go to the 10th inning, a lot of position changes, but yet still able to put them in good positions to try to carry forward.
I would think Coco would go to left field and Canha would come into first base, wouldn't you? So here's Semien at the plate. And the pitch to Marcus is a ball, 1-0.
Well, if you want to put Sogard at second, put Valencia at first with Laurie at third. Cannon.
Now you're really confusing me, Fox.
Now let's end it right here and not have to worry about it. How's that?
The 1-0 pitch on the way, and a 3-3 tie in the 9th inning, and Semien steps out. Zach Britton going to work on Semien, and here's the pitch to Marcus, and that's a strike on the inside corner. Semien didn't like it. That's a pitcher's pitch.
Yeah.
Not much you can do with that pitch, Ray.
No, and it's down low and just figured it's out of the strike zone.
And the 1-1 on the way. Here it is. And Semien, it's a ground ball toward third. A foul ball left of the bag. Zach Britton, an all-star this year. A first-time all-star, this southpaw. He was a manager's selection.
Stephen Vogt caught him in the All-Star game.
Yes, he did.
Here's the 1-2 delivery, and it's swung on him as chased down and away. Fastball 97. Yeah, and Vogt had the misfortune at the plate of facing Jacob deGrom. He wasn't alone.
Yeah. What, about 10 fastballs at 95 plus?
Number 1, Billy.
So here's Billy Burns. Two out, bottom of the 9th, a 3-3 tie. Here's the pitch by Britton, and swung on and hit into center, a base hit for Billy Burns. So Burns on base for the second time today. That's his first hit, his 99th hit of the year, and this is rookie year. That's a solid shot.
That was kind of a get me over fastball, and maybe thinking Burns is going to take it, which is rare. But if he ever takes a fastball or any pitch from the first, and the pitch that Semien struck out on about a foot lower than the one Burns just hit to center field.
Does he run on Britton here?
I think he should. You know, it's lefty on lefty with Reddick, and Vince mentioned the pinch hit. Reddick, of course, pinch hitting last at bat. The one hit was a 2-run double against the Astros in the 10th inning that tied the game.
So Burns takes his lead. They shift the infield. Just Machado on the left. Burns a good lead, not running, and the pitch is a strike. Of course, you mentioned Ricky here at the ballpark today, and Billy Burns, when you talk to him about base stealing and base running, he's very astute. He's learned so much in the last year or so. 0-1 the count. Britton steering at Burns. Here's the pitch, and Reddick hits a ground ball into the shift. Charging at second, Scope, a flip to first in time, and we're going to the 10th inning at the Coliseum. After 9 complete in game 3 of the series, it's a 3-3 tie.
Lovely.
Leon comes out of his bullpen. We go to the 10th inning, and here's Vince Cotroneo.
Arnold just rejoined the club on Monday. He's been up and down on a handful of occasions this year. The right-hander out of Culiacan, Mexico, will turn 27 during the first week of September. This year making his major league debut, and did so on April 22nd. He's been up and down a few times, and last pitched in the big leagues against the Blue Jays, 3 1/3 on the 23rd of July. At AAA, 1-4 in 17 games, 6 as a starter and a 3.12 ERA. 3-3 in the 10th. Joseph, Machado, and Parra against Arnold Leon off the extreme third base side of the hill. The full windup in the pitch, and it swung on and fouled back to the right for strike one. Caleb Joseph 1 for 3 with a double. Coco does stay in the game. He is in left, playing extremely deep, and Mark Canha comes in from left, and he's over at first base. You guys can really manage over there. You had the lineup all set up.
And the bullpen quiet for the Orioles.
Man, I mean, Zach Britton, one power sinker after another. Yeah. That might be the best sinker in baseball. Yeah. Certainly the liveliest, 95 to 97.
Why would he ever want to start?
0-1 the count. The wind and the pitch. Breaking ball. Strike on the outside corner. Well, they tried Brian Mattis as a starter. Former #1 pick, former college teammate of A.J. Griffin at USD. That didn't work out. He's in the bullpen now. They used to have Jake Arrieta in their rotation. He's become a star with the Cubs. 0-2. Fastball line toward left center. Reaching for it is Simeon. Just beyond his reach, and it gets on through for a hit. Marcus a couple of steps to his left. Try to snare it, but the go-ahead run is aboard with Caleb Joseph. Down to the count 0-2, and he got just too hittable of a pitch there, and he was able to do some damage. Got to do something better than that with 2 strikes. Now here's Manny Machado, who all the way to the end, he'll get his chorus of boos. He's 0 for 4 today, and 2 for 12 in the series. He can really unload, though. Be careful against this guy. He's been quiet in the series for the most part. Takes a slider for a strike, and it's 0-1.
Such good breaking ball from Arnold Leon, and then a center cut fastball 0-2 to Jacob. That's Joseph. That is just that's a tough pitch to try to locate, and usually you can with a fastball, but he centered it.
Here's the 0-1. Ran it inside with a fastball, and that evens the count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Valencia up close, even with the bag at third base. Canha holding Joseph at first in this 3-3 game in the 10th. The A's had a walk-off victory on Sunday against Cleveland. The A's are 4-6 now in extra inning games, while the Birds of Baltimore are 2-2. Next pitch is too tight on Machado for ball 2. 2 balls and a strike. Their last extra inning game was against Atlanta at the beginning of their just completed homestand on the 27th of July. They won in 11, 3-1 on a walk-off home run by Matt Wieters. 2 balls and a strike. And Leon turns, goes back to first base. Joseph barely off the bag. And Burns in center, deep, and a couple of steps toward left. Reddick deep and right, and we already mentioned Coco well back and left. 2 balls and a strike on Machado. And Leon offers, and the pitch is hit late and foul off to the right. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, the 2 games that have been completed in the American League, you talk about unique finishes. White Sox won on a walk-off walk, and the Angels won on a walk-off wild pitch. They scored 3 times in the 9th on Cody Allen and the Indians. The Angels won 4-3. 2-2. Breaking ball outside. Full count of 3-2. So the Angels have posted their win, hoping to stay 3 back of the Astros, who are throwing Scott Kazmir tonight in Texas against the Rangers, while the Rangers hope to continue their streak. They've won 6 of 7. They're at 500 now. Haven't been over 500 since July 4th. Another throwback to first base.
And a tough road trip for Cody Allen.
Yeah.
Closing for the Indians.
Got beat here by Mark Canha. 3-2 on Machado. He's looking to unload against Leon. And the pitch with the runner going line the other way. A base hit. Turning at second is Joseph on his way to third, and the Orioles are in business with runners at first and third and nobody out. Man, Machado just shooting one through the right side on another pitch has caught too much of the plate.
Well, you had Laurie covering second base, and that opened up the second base spot, the right side anyway. And, you know, it's interesting. Calls being made up the middle. That's a fastball. And Laurie covering, expected him to pull the ball. But twice that Machado has been up with the runner at first. Twice the runner has gone to second, and twice he's put the ball in play. This one, from the A standpoint, not good because it's a base hit.
Now Parra. He's 1 for 4, the bunt single, and a run scored back in the 6th inning. They're going to put him on intentionally and load the bases and try to keep Leon going against the right-hander and facing Adam Jones. So quite a gamble here by Bob Melvin. But looking to get a force at any base in a 3-3 game in the 10th, as Machado will be moved to second base and Joseph still at third. Well, the intentional walk blew up in the face of Buck Showalter last night. And the A's took advantage of that to extend their lead on a 3-run homer by Marcus Semien. It eventually won 5-0. And Bob Melvin hoping that the intentional walk works in his favor today, as Parra gets ball 4 on what is his 3rd intentional walk this year. And now Kurt Young's going to go out to the mound. There's going to be a little strategy discussion on what the A's want to do here with Adam Jones at the plate, who is dangerous. He's 0 for 4 today. He could have 2 hits had it not been for great defense by Marcus Semien deep in the hole in the 4th, and a leaping catch by Burns at the wall in center field in the 6th inning.
Strategy here is strikeout, strikeout, pop up.
Strikeout, double play ball.
Or strikeout, strikeout. I mean, really.
You want the drama, do you?
Yeah. I don't.
The sooner the better. How about a around the horn triple play?
Well, that's the no. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 double play. But you know, I'd take a strikeout with Davis because as strong as he is, he's going to hit fly balls. He's not going to hit ground balls for double plays. So go strikeout, strikeout, fly.
Well, maybe with Valencia close to the bag at third, he gets a sharp ground ball.
That's a good idea.
Touches third.
I like it.
Goes to Laurie for second, and on to Canna for first.
And an inning-ending triple play.
An inning-ending triple play. The best kind.
I like that.
I heard about that once.
I like that strategy. That's a good. That's just.
The A's are going to play halfway. No place to put Jones. He is dangerous. 17 homers on the year. 3-3 game in the 10th. A's have been out hit 10-8. Leon from the stretch, and the right-hander to the plate, and the pitch fouled back. Jones was looking for a grand slam plus more with that cut, and he fouls it back for strike 1. They made a nice catch just below us to our right. Got a nice little two-tone glove down there. Jones waits. Leon is ready. 0-1 the count. The pitch. Breaking ball popped up on the infield. Laurie backpedaling, staying with it. The infield fly rule is called, and he'll make the catch for out number 1. So Jones fails, and now they'll contend with Chris Davis.
A good breaking ball, and Jones hit it straight up and fired his bat once he knew he did not get it deep enough.
Now batting.
Okay, I'll take the double play.
He's hit in only 4 this year.
I know. He's an uppercut hitter.
Right.
That's why it makes it difficult. And if you're going to get the double play, make it 1, 2, 3. Let's just get greedy.
So Davis has walked, struck out, singled and scored, and struck out again. He's done that more than anybody in baseball, 135 times, but he can hit it a country mile. Upright stance on the left side. The pitch, a fastball wide, ball 1. And he is definitely looking to launch here. He's got 75 RBIs, which is 3rd best in the league, led by Josh Donaldson of Toronto with 78. Semien, the shortstop, shading up the middle. Canna in front of the base runner at first. The pitch, breaking ball, a beauty, and it drops in to even the count for a strike to make it 1-1. Evan Scribner begins to loosen in the A's bullpen. A's 3, Orioles 3 in the 10th. And Arnold Leon, the A's 5th pitcher of the day. facing the dangerous Chris Davis. The stretch, the 1-1. Breaking ball, that one slips. It misses outside. Ball 2. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, they threw a good breaking ball, 1-0 to get the strike. The deeper he goes, though, he has to go back to fastball, and that's what Davis, by getting deep in the count, he's going to start looking for it.
Valencia behind the bag, off the line at third. Now time called as the ball gets away from the A's bullpen.
Maybe with the uppercut swing, he hit on top of the ball and hit it in the ground. As the A's will play back and are playing back for 2.
So Coco takes the errant bullpen toss and sends it up into the seats. And now Davis back in there. One of the best power hitters in the American League. 2-1 the count. And Leone ready, then steps off. Not quite certain. 2013, Davis at 53 home runs. No place to put him. Parra at first, Machado at second, Joseph at third. And the 2-1. Fastball swing and a miss, down and away at 93. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jimmy Paredes, a switch hitter, is on deck.
And here's the critical pitch of the at-bat, 2-2. And that was great location on the fastball, down and away. And with that uppercut swing, nothing he could do to get to it.
So Davis stands back in. Leone stays on the hill, peers into Fegley. 2-2 the count. And Leone readies and delivers. Fastball low and outside. Now full count of 3-2. Got to come on the plate now, or certainly close enough for Davis to offer at it with a full count and no place to put him aboard in this 3-3 game of the 10th.
That target was outside corner, ran off the plate. Yeah, it's going to get that kind of movement. Start towards the middle, let it run. At least look like it's going to stay in the strike zone.
3-2, and Leone fires, and the pitch is lifted toward deep left center field. Burns on the run, takes a look, and it is gone. A back-breaking grand slam from Chris Davis. His 28th home run, scoring Joseph, Machado, and Parra. He leads the league now at 79 RBIs, and the Orioles in the 10th are in front 7-3.
And that says it all about Chris Davis right there. That pitch down and away. Maybe not away as much as he wanted it to be. And Davis with the power, line to line, gap to gap, and he proved it with that shot.
So the single, the intentional walk, and then the one out retiring Jones. But then Chris Davis hits his 2nd home run in this series.
2 home runs, 7 ribbies.
Yep. When you're a power bat, you can get him in bunches like that, and a fastball strike to Paredes, and it's 0-1.
Well, they actually put the nail in the coffin on Monday night with a 3-run shot in the 1st inning, and really nailed it in this one.
The 1 strike offer. Curve outside, 1-1 the count. He's wanting to give a longer look to Arnold Leone and see what he can do on the major league level. And today, just not his day. 1-1 pitch, a swing and a miss. You can go to the grand slam and you can be frustrated because it was a 3-2 pitch. However, the inning began with an 0-2 fastball that Joseph was able to handle and get a base hit, and he was ahead of Machado and couldn't finish him off either. Swinging a bouncing ball behind first, flagged down by Canna. Underhands to Leone in time for the 2nd out.
That's a great point. Thinking the same thing. And 2 strike hits have been devastating to the Athletics. And really go back to the weekend, San Francisco. Players who have the great approaches with 2 strikes. The shortening up, and even that swing by Davis, it was not trying to hit the ball 9 miles to right field. It was just make contact, try to get the fly ball. And with his power, it was a deep enough fly ball.
It wasn't an Adam Jones swing.
No.
It was an under control power swing. And now standing in J.J. Hardy, and he takes a fastball for strike 1. So the Orioles, who historically have struggled here at the O.K. Coliseum, just 8-20 in this ballpark since 2009, have a 7-3 lead in the 10th. And the 0-1 pitch is fouled off. And to the surprise of no one, Zach Britton's going to come on and pitch the bottom of the 10th inning, and he was dominating when he came on for them earlier in this game. Came on when Marcano was caught stealing. With Ike Davis at the plate. Fastball strike on the outside corner. The inning is over. The horse has left the barn. A grand slam from Chris Davis against Arnold Leone, and it's 7-3 Baltimore. Davis with the grand slam, a blast over the wall in left center, giving the Orioles a 4-run cushion and their all-star closer on the mound with the large lead. As Brett Lawrie stands in, followed by Stephen Vogt and then Danny Valencia. Lawrie is 0 for 3 of the sacrifice fly. He takes down and away, ball 1. Well, the A's did have their moment with Fernando Rodney earlier this year when he was in a non-save situation, rallied with 4 runs with 1 final at bat.
This is a win situation for Britain.
Yeah. Here's the 1-0. Fastball down and away. 2 balls and no strikes.
But that was a great example. Rodney coming in, and he gave that look like, why am I coming in? Because he's already up, and then they made it a non-save situation, but it created a lot of excitement for the A's.
Here's the 2-0 pitch. Fastball strike. And we've talked about this, especially with the A's right now, a team that's struggling to score a lot of runs. Situation hitting is an absolute that the A's have really got to increase their focus on. Here's the 2-1 and a fastball strike on the outside corner. It's 2-2. The A's have the bases loaded with nobody out in the 3rd inning. It can manage only 1 run, and it was the Lawrie sac fly, and Lawrie in a little bit of a running dialogue with Dan Bellino didn't like the call. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the Oriole left-hander delivers a swing and a miss. Power sinker at 97. And Lawrie is not on strikes, and Lawrie has the last word as well, walking away. You don't want to get in a word fight with Brett Lawrie, because odds are you're not going to win.
If you count them. Then I've got 6 times the A's had a runner in third, less than 2 outs. 4 times the strand. So I mean, that's been all season though. That's not just today, but it's been kind of ongoing. Just put the ball in play, contact, something to get the runner in, and it's a gift run.
And the Orioles got the 2 runs with the 3 consecutive 2-out hits in the 6th inning. Pitch on the way, and it's low to Vogt for ball 1. You can look at all different. You can focus on the grand slam, and you can even make the case that why not just make him chase a pitch and surrender the 1 and not the 4, and go to work on Jimmy Paredes. But there are other moments as well throughout the course of the entire game as a bouncing ball is on the right side of the diamond, and J.J. Hardy, who's on that side of the infield, makes the catch, throws the first, and the A's are down to their final out with Danny Valencia.
Now batting third
So the A's will turn their attention to the American League West, and beginning tomorrow for the A's. With 53 games remaining starting tomorrow, 29 of them will be inside the American League West. And so the A's will certainly have their say on how the remainder of the season plays out. Now Valencia comes to the plate. And he is 1 for 4 in his debut. 2 pitches into the game, a ground ball was hit in his direction. Three infielders on the left side for Valencia. Bounce it to first, and gloved by Davis, touches the bag. And the Orioles take 2 out of 3 from the Athletics. They win in 10 on the Davis grand slam. The final, Baltimore 7 and Oakland 3. Stay tuned. Back with the totals after this.